The reason why it scares me is now I want more.
Yeah, that's a fair and valid statement. Normally, so start the nights off when we're hanging out is mandatory walk up 4 flights of stairs for the time being, and then get to Dan's apartment, walk in, set everything down, take a deep breath because I'm fat and I hate stairs, and then we take a shot, play some quarters, and start drinking a beer. Normally, screwball is involved in somewhere in there because it's now
Dan
the
has a whiskey cabinet.
it's the go-to.
Ridiculous.
We'll get normal. Here, try this, and then
Right.
we have the. Okay, let's drink.
You're like, okay, let's stop playing games.
Yeah.
Anytime they start playing quarters, both me and Maya are like,
Here we go.
No.
It's not the fact that we get super drunk off it. It's the fact that we do it to get drunk, and then we kind of just maintain the whole rest of the time.
Is quarters just the one where you try and knock
And
the
the
quarter
shot
shot?
glass,
Don't
yeah.
get a shot glass.
And everybody, a lot of people that don't play it think that when you miss, you shoot, and that's not the case. You make it, they shoot.
Yeah.
They make it, you shoot.
So
if you're
really
good
suck
at
or
it,
if you're really good at it. Either
you're
way,
getting drunk.
You're getting
If
fucked
you're
up.
bad at it, you're getting drunk. So it's
And they're too
kinda-
nice, so it's like, oh, you've taken 5 shots. Oh,
However
I'll
you
take
wanna
4
go
with
with
you.
it.
It's okay. So
I
then
gotta
they're all
catch
shit-faced.
that's how it goes when you're hanging with the buds, man.
So I want to ask you guys a question. This is an old school Top Shelfers way to start the show, just because it's so random, it's so weird, but it usually leads to conversation.
Okay.
Have either of you had a paranormal experience? If not, where do you sit on that realm of ghosts, spirits, different things along those lines?
I've never had one. I totally believe in it, though. There's some stuff out there. But I've never really had one. My dad has had a few. When I lived with him when I was a kid, he had one. I had friends staying the night or something, and we're up 3 o'clock in the morning. My dad said he was sitting on his bed and felt some sort of cold presence just shoot through him. And he's like, it felt evil. It was bad. It was nasty. And he stood up and was like, turn the lights on. I was like, I'm freaking out. And, that was it. But only things I've ever experienced were I put my keys here. Now they're missing for 3 days and then they're on top of the fridge. That's the only thing I've ever had. But I do believe in it. I know there's some stuff out there. It just never really happened to me.
So I feel like it's kind of half and half with mine. I feel like I've had various different encounters. Nothing ever super crazy, but for instance, when I was younger, we lived out in Magnum with my mom's second husband, and I believe it was his stepdad. He lived with us for quite a long time, and he worked out at the metal recycle plant off 201. Was at work one day and got crushed by a car because of a failed piece of equipment, something like that.
Oh, shit.
But so I stayed in the basement, and it was a 6-bedroom house, and it was his bedroom, my bedroom, and then a toy room for the kids that me and my brother. And when he died, they swapped us rooms 2 weeks before that. So I ended up in this room over by the stairs, and then his room was in the back of the basement. So I go to school, normal day, whatever, get home, find all this shit out. Everybody's emotional, shit day, whatever. And I went to bed that night, and of course, being a little kid, sleeping in a dark-ass room, you're like, all right, well, I'm not keeping the door open, just in case.
Right.
And his room, like I said, was kitty corner, so sitting there at night, I used to sleep on this end of the bed. I was like, nah. Flip that up, I was staring at the wall, I'm like, no, not doing nothing. And the house was always really warm, but that night, it was really cold breezes and stuff. I didn't think anything of it. A couple weeks went by, nothing crazy happened, and then one night I decided, all right, I'm gonna go back to the way I was sleeping, and laying in bed, and peak hour 2-3 a.m. I heard something kind of like a knock or something like that. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I look up and I just see kind of a shadowy figure in the doorway of his room, and then the door closed. And I was like,
I'd be like,
okay,
go
so
upstairs.
I think I was maybe 8 or 9 at this point. I don't really have a lot of recollection of my childhood, but that happened in the morning. Woke up and went and opened the door. Nobody was in there, nothing crazy. But that's really the only kind of experience that stuck out. I mean, other than that, I went places that are haunted and, you know, had like random various feelings. Nothing super crazy. But the only one that really let me down is a bunch of buddies and myself went out to the old paper mill
Oh, same.
and tried to get in there. And yeah, you never wear your favorite shirt on a beanie.
No.
Yeah, bad idea. Barbed wire fences and everything was greasy from people trying to get in, and I guess they used to grease everything because people were climbing the walls trying to get in. So
Yeah.
they did that, welded the doors shut. So it was really a pointless 2-hour drive and 3 hours of our life trying to get in. But you know,
I still have a scar on my leg. It's pretty faint from trying to jump one of the fences there.
yeah,
It fucked my whole leg up.
it's definitely not a smart thing to do. And
No.
then we were all, you know, punk teenagers, so of course every car that drive by we had to go and fucking hide in the bushes. And then
Right.
the security company that used to patrol came around and essentially kicked us all out. And yeah, I ripped my favorite band shirt, and it was a shitty time. But yeah, no, nothing ever crazy. But as far as like, I want to experience it. I want to have a reason to like, you know,
Right.
be involved with it. But I also, I'm not gonna lie, and a lot of people think I'm, I guess, a little slow for it. But I want to have a bad experience so I can know. Maybe not like as bad as it can go, because you know that doesn't sound fun. But yeah, just some crazy shit. Maybe
Bad
like a
enough to-
scratch or a bite mark or something, and be like, all right, yeah, something happened.
Bad enough to be like, there's definitely.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of sage. It's fine.
But I'm not trying to, you know, like, hey guys, what's up? Want to come back to my house with me and just hang out for the next eternity? That's cool.
My dad, another story, sorry. My dad got cursed. He had a girlfriend that was a witch, like her family were witches.
Oh,
That's
shit.
what they were. They had a bad breakup. She cursed him from, like, I don't know, he was probably like 20 or something. And she cursed him and told him, you're never going to have anything of any value. You're never going to have any money. You'll never have, like, a comfortable life, basically. And it's happened. We've never
Oh,
had
no
anything.
shit.
We've always been broke as shit. He's worked every day, on and on. Like, he's 60 something years old and he's still working. Well, he's not right now, but
Right.
he will be. Every time we got money, like back when Bush first became president, when he started, we had another stimulus thing. There was like an overabundance of money, so he sent everybody just a check.
Yeah.
My dad got like $5,000 in the mail. He was like, we were all excited. We finally got money. The next day, the freaking water heater went out.
Oh.
So we had to pay for that. Then we had to pay because the carpet got flooded. And then we had to fix the air. Like, something broke. Every time we got money, something broke. My grandma died, left him some money. Again, water heater. We had to buy a new washer. Like, everything happened all the time.
Does he blame it on the curse?
Yes.
Yeah?
He does.
Fuck.
And he got told by a palm reader lady that he has basically some sort of demon monkey thing that's just attached to him. And he thinks it's from that curse.
No shit.
She could see it. She could see it
Right.
around him, and he believed it because she read his palm, and like everything she said has come true. So now he's like, I guess everything was true. But yeah,
Does he ever try to reach out to her and be like,
No.
yo, can you fucking not?
Can you take
Like,
this off now?
Do you just need some dick or what?
Like, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, fucked it up for sure.
Moving on here. But yeah, no, that's so with him. I guess I've been related to it through him because my dad was a single parent, so just been me and my dad this whole time.
Right.
But I've never had anything. I will say I was raised Catholic, pretty much. So I have that Catholic fear of demons and stuff like that. Like my dad made me watch The Exorcist when I was a kid, and I've still I could watch the movie now and laugh at it. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's still, there's a little part of me that's like, fuck. Like, I'm still scared that something happens like that somewhere, and oh god. But somebody put me as a fly on a wall in an exorcism because I want to watch one. But other than that.
I do too. I mean, because I don't know where I sit on a lot of it. Because I'm definitely a firm believer in that if you have like a really strong opinion, like you're 100% ghosts exist or 100% like demons exist or a different variety of that,
Yeah.
you'll be able to like fit a narrative to make it exist, if that makes sense.
Kind of like seeing is believing or
Yeah,
will it
of
into
course.
existence.
Yeah. Kind of like, you know, if someone's I mean, I'll take a dig. This is my opinion, not theirs. But like, if someone believes 100% in God, right? something crazy happens, like, oh, that was God.
That was good.
When in reality,
He
it could
touched
be,
me.
a
Any
coincidence
number,
or whatever it is. Like,
No, he fell off the hill the right way and didn't die. That's what it was.
Yeah. I feel like that sometimes you can turn it into what you want to believe. But I've had some weird experiences, and I definitely sit more on the edge of, like, I think there is something out there that we can't explain and we don't know enough about.
To say what
Yeah,
it is.
but is it like what our conventional thought is on ghosts? Probably not. But is there something that, like, some sort of weird energy, or, like, do we have, like, an actual soul that might be able to stay around for longer than we think? Possibly.
Yeah.
Because what is consciousness?
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, there's really no way of knowing,
Scientifically,
essentially.
it's a bunch of energy and synapses. Where did that come from?
Right.
Hey, don't get all weird on me. I'm not that smart, okay?
Just saying.
Because we can definitely, like, you know, we all have our own inner thoughts, but does that have a mass that we could actually measure it someday?
Right. That's
So we have our brain, right? We can look at our brain and think, oh, this does this, this does that. But what makes us us?
Exactly.
Right.
Your own being, essentially.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think we were talking about it the other day at work when we realized, like, a lot of people don't have their own narratives in their head.
Yeah.
That's a crazy fucking thing to think about, too.
That blew my mind. There's people who don't have an inner monologue.
Like, it's so weird. Like, I can hear my own voice in my head and talk to myself. How do you not do that?
Yeah.
People are like, well, I read things in my head, but that's about it.
Oh, what?
Yeah, but
Do
even
you
that...
talk to yourself in a mirror then? Like, you've got to have conversations with yourself. Like,
I feel like people who don't those are the people who really put their foot in the mouth when they start talking.
Their filter's like, wait,
Yeah.
hold up.
we're slow.
Take a deep breath and wait a second before you respond to this one, bud.
Before you say that word. Hold it on.
So, yeah. No, paranormal, I definitely feel like there's stuff out there, and I want to be able to experience it. I think it'd be definitely a cool kind of life lesson.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends believe in stuff like that, like ghosts and whatever. But it's kind of not necessarily like a fear, but they're in the same boat. They just want to be able to experience something and be like, okay, well,
No, I know.
something happened. But yeah, like I said, that one incident was really the only brush I've ever really had. Other than that, it's been, you know, just eerie feelings or whatever going in certain places. And it's not, most of the time, I think it's just like my self-conscious judging whatever the hell is going on at the time.
Right.
But it's also helped me out in a lot of ways because it's made me a really good judge of character around most people I meet, which is good for me because my fucked up life, there's lots of people I don't trust or want to get to know, and then there's chill people you run into and you're like, hey, let's have a beer, let's hang out, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I feel like it's worked out, and it definitely could benefit in a scenario like that. I just, like, all these shows and everything you see, to me, is a little far-fetched. Like, I'm not sure how well all the instruments work, but, like, the whole, like, white noise and tape machine thing, stuff like that, I believe. But your little, like, Geiger counters and shit, I'm like, don't know, bud.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough road because I want to believe, but my biggest problem is, like, with what we know, or what they say conventionally, right? Like, oh, it's a ghost, which then in turn means that there is some sort of afterlife, right? Which then in turn means, is there, like, heaven, hell? Yeah, like, and that contradicts everything that I believe, because I don't think there's necessarily a heaven or a hell.
Right.
But I do honestly think that there is something that can happen to us when we die that, like, might leave an imprint, or even maybe, like, let's say you have a traumatic event in your life, right? And in that moment, there's so much trauma, there's so much emotion, there's so much, like, passion that it might even leave, like, a mark of sorts. And that's why you have, like, paranormal hotspots where they go and, like, this person died here, tragic murder, whatever.
So they're just hanging out there.
Yeah.
Part of them is hanging out there.
Yeah, maybe there's still that. Yeah, maybe there's still emotion, or
leave pieces of yourself behind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I sit with it, because I if there's an afterlife, then I need to start thinking.
Change some things.
Yeah.
I'll write it out. I'm not afraid.
One of my favorite musicians, singer, Dio, Ronnie James Dio. He always believed he was religious. His mom was very religious, Italian woman. You know, the devil horns. There's a reason why he
Evil
does
person.
those, because it wards off the evil eye. You can ward it or you can give it.
Right.
And so he's like, my mom taught me that when I was a kid. I've grown up learning that. So, but he's like, I don't believe that there's a heaven. There's no heaven. There's no hell. You live what it is. You either live your heaven or you live your hell. That's, you choose to be what you choose to be. When you die, you're gone.
Right.
That's it. But yes, I mean, he didn't necessarily say anything towards leaving imprints or whatever, but it was just, there's no heaven, there's no hell. You live your life the way you live it.
Right.
That's it. So you can choose to be good, you can choose to be evil, or you can choose to live in either one, you know. But I just, where I go with that, you know.
I believe that too, because I think that if you live your life expecting there to be something afterwards, I think you really do yourself an injustice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of, I don't know, I feel like you set yourself up for failure in a lot of ways when you do that, for sure.
Right.
So, in a roundabout way, so my grandmother, I consider my mom. She was raised super, like, LDS, and
She's so kind of is.
she's got, like, her temple recommend, everything like that. So she's, like, super, you know, Lord, blah, 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 blah. And I've, like, sat down and had legit conversations with her, because I'm not a believer, really, at all. Like, if I had to pick anything I wanted to believe in, it would have been, like, mythology, just because, to me, that makes a little bit more sense. Like, why have one thing ruling over everything?
Right.
You could have, you know, multiple people doing good, essentially, and bad. But, so yeah, that's just a whole different thing. But, no, I just sat down and had legit conversations. I'm like, so, like, you don't question any of this bullshit to me? Like, that's it, that is what it is. To you, I get that it's not, and it makes sense to you. But, yeah, no, we've had in-depth conversations, and she's, like, the nicest woman you would ever meet. She'd give her shirt off her back to help anybody. Anytime she sees anybody homeless, she cries about it. Like, she's just super kind-hearted and a good woman. So,
Well, there was one time where she threw a whole cup of ice water over.
yeah, funny story. But, so yeah, no, we've had just in-depth talks about it, and she definitely thinks, like, the viewpoints and stuff like that are skewed, and it shouldn't be that way. And a lot of it has to do with, just experiences that we've had within our family. So, you know, I have tattoos and piercings and whatnot, and my older brother, he's, you know, straight up old school metalhead. So gauges, the piercings,
Big ass beard.
devil music, but whatever.
Also
So,
a punk rocker.
yeah, just, you know, a lot of the older ladies and stuff in our neighborhood always judged us, and, you know, just typical stuff like that. Or we go places and she'd see the looks that people would give us, whatever. But it wasn't until stuff started happening to her that she realized how the world works and how people are. Because in general, just a lot of the human race is just trash.
Right.
And it's not really taking jabs at anybody, but I mean, if you're a dick person, you're probably not going to get very far in life. But, so, yeah, no, a lot of it we'll sit down and have conversations, and just like the whole, you know, like the way the church responded to like the initial, like people being gay and stuff within the community. And it was, you know, this whole big thing up in the air, and it was a whole disaster there. And she legit like sat down with her bishop one time and was like, why are we doing this? Like, this isn't right. And her bishop didn't know how to explain it.
So she didn't go to church.
And yeah, she stopped going to church for a year because she didn't think it was right, and she started questioning a lot of her beliefs and everything about it. And like, she still has faith that there's, you know, a higher power in the afterlife, but as far as like everything that she was taught, she's like, this is kind of bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, why should I have to live my life a certain way to be able to experience the good afterlife when, you know, there's people out there raping and murdering and doing stuff that they need to do, and nothing happens to them? And a lot of it, I feel like I kind of played into it with her, is she was in a really bad car accident and just fucked her shit up. She's terminally ill now on all sorts of medication. She's never going to be able to heal from any of it, and she just gets worse.
She got, to kind of backstory that, she was driving, her and her husband were driving with his older brother in the back seat. She was leaning back and yelling at him for not wearing a seatbelt. And I don't know if you're familiar with West Valley at all, but if you go up 35th South, if you're coming up to...
47th to Redwood Road.
It's 35th in Redwood. Okay, anyway. There's an intersection right there, and they were turning right to turn down so they can get to where their house was off 3100 South eventually. And as they turned, a guy was getting chased by police going down Redwood Road. He's doing like 95.
It was a hit and run already, so he was running from that accident.
Yeah. And apparently he turned out to be some, not to, bash any religion, but he was some like Muslim or like Iranian, like a prince. He was like royalty from over there, just down here doing whatever he was doing. But got in this accident, took off, running from the cops. The cops were chasing him. They turned, and her husband, Sakel, saw the car coming, and he was coming right at him. And he tried to turn out of the way, and he turned just in time for the car to hit her side.
Oh.
Doing 90-something an hour.
Gee,
Punctured his lung. He was bleeding out, dying. It broke everything from her hip waist down. So all of her legs, it snapped everything that were up here. So her hips were broken. All the bones in her legs were broken. She bit her tongue almost off. The seatbelt cut her boob in half. She was all messed up. And Jeff in the back seat didn't have a seatbelt on. He had flown up, smacked the roof of the car, landed in the front seat upside down. He didn't really get injured. Speaking of all this religion. Speaking of all this religion, she said that she, saw him in the car, and the paramedics and stuff were working to get them out. And she kept trying to say, my son, because he was in the back, and she couldn't see him. She's like, all of a sudden I look, and he's standing outside of the car. He's just standing there, and he's fine.
Oh, no shit.
And the paramedics are like, we got him, he's okay. She said she remembers getting put into the ambulance and seeing another one driving away without the lights on. And they said that's the one her son was in. Usually when an ambulance drives away and they're dead, they don't turn the lights on. So she's freaking out, but she's still dying.
Right.
And she just kept saying, my son. And Sakel, they got him fixed up, but she was destroyed. She couldn't walk for almost a year, maybe longer.
Yeah, it was about a year and a half. She was in a wheelchair and had to do physical therapy and stuff like that.
The bed would get lifted up and the whole thing. So anyway, back to your story.
I forgot where I was now.
Your religion stuff with mine.
Oh yeah, but so
Hi, Daniel.
Yeah, all that happened in her life, and she's been living with the consequences since then. And she was like, she's the big proponent of, God only gives us what we can handle. And I was like, look, that's the case. You got dealt a shit fucking hand. You need a mulligan or something.
Right.
And I was like, why? How is it fair to you, of all people, the nicest people I've ever met, to have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis and still have to follow, these scenarios that you have to live in order for you to gain your excellence and all this. So after that, she kind of took a step back and was thinking about it. And like I said, she still believes, but she's not nearly as active in anything or anything like that. And it changed her perspective enough that she realized that she can live the way she wants to, but still she can be a good person. Yeah. And I think that's kind of her whole shelteredness and why she's so, the best word's gullible. This woman doesn't know terminology for anything, and she thought carpet muncher was a term for endearment for a long time. So
she said it to her great-granddaughter, and they were like, Debbie, no, don't teach her that. She's like, I'm sorry.
It's funny to experience, but like I said, she's probably one of the nicest old ladies you could ever meet, and she'd do anything for anybody. But so to go along with the ice story and the homeless guy,
she always wants to give money. If you're driving with her, she's like, oh, stop, can I give him $1? Yeah. Okay.
Every time, it doesn't matter, and we
have to tell her, no, Mom, no.
And
look at him, he looks fine.
So we used to live in the neighborhood right by Valley Fair Mall on 2700. So she'd always go to the Jubilee over there. That was her childhood grocery store. She prefers going there, stuff like that. Yeah. Well, there's always homeless dudes at the mall right there, and then she would go up the road to the Sonic and she would get the crushed ice, and then she'd always get a slush or something, anything like that. Well, one time she just started getting like 4 bags of ice so she could have ice when she wanted drinks. And then she would get 2 big cups of ice and just put water in one and then have another cup of ice that she could eat.
Yeah.
And
Woman eats ice like it's
there was a
candy.
homeless dude at Sonic as she was leaving. And her being her, she stopped and offered to give him some money. She offered to buy him some food.
Instead of giving him
And he was like, no, I don't want food. I just need money.
But his sign said something about, like, I'll work for food.
Yeah, and she was like, well, you could do it, like, you could wash my windows or something and I'll buy you some food or whatever. And long story short, he got fed up with her trying to, buy him food because he didn't want food. And he said something along the lines of, I just want money for drugs, you bitch, or something like that. So her being an old lady was kind of taken back by it, and so she took her fucking drink and threw a whole cup of ice on the dude. And I was like, all right, well, get it,
Got
lady.
him.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting to see that kind of mentality come out, because I see it and, like, yeah, I feel bad for him. Like,
Right.
it is what it is. But at the same time, if you're not going to take the initiative to get yourself out of that situation and just roll with it, like, dude, come on. You got to do something. I get it. Like, yeah, you're in a rough spot and you may not have what you need now. But there's plenty of shit you could go do. I mean, plenty of construction sites you could go over and be like, hey, look, I just need some food. Can I clean up your shit for the day?
Yeah.
Can I hold your sign?
You know what I mean? There's lots of opportunity for people out there. And
I will
granted,
say, if you got a funny sign and I see you on the side of the road, I'm more than likely going to give you at least $1, maybe more. I have given so much money to some people with some funny signs.
dude, some people are witty. I think there was one dude that said there was, what was it, too old to strip,
Yeah, that was
too
my
ugly
favorite.
to do something.
He's like, too honest to steal, too ugly to strip. I was like,
Damn, you're right.
here you go. If I had a 20, I'd give you a 20. Here you
The
go.
best one I saw was, I think it was when we lived in Sandy. I was coming home from work one day, and dude was right off the underpass at 90th, and he had a sign. A big-ass sign he wrote on, like, a fridge box, and he just stood next to it, and I said, I bet you can't hit me with a quarter.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, yes, get it.
I'll throw a handful.
There was a guy that lived in Washington State who did that. And he was actually not homeless.
Oh.
He did it as a part-time gig.
Just to make
fuck it.
cash.
Just to make money. Dude, he was making like... I can't remember, because he was kind of knew my cousin.
Mm.
He was making probably like $200-$300 in
Yeah.
a like 3-4 hour period.
Yeah, and some of it's crazy, dude. Some of them
Someone
make
told-
more money than we make.
Yeah,
I
someone told us, or we saw somewhere, that they can make up to like 30 grand a year just
Yeah.
standing there.
No.
Like, shit, I'll take it. I mean, the guys that like play guitar and stuff, like, shoot.
Yeah, you're out there killing it.
When you're just standing there looking like a crackhead.
It's tough to...
Yeah.
There's the same old lady by our house up on 21st South and 13th East. She just stands there swaying with a sign that says, I have grandkids, please help me. And I'm like, you're very clean, well put together, like, you're going somewhere that has giving you help. What are you
Yeah.
asking me money for?
I think the worst, though, is, like, you can kind of tell the people that take advantage of it in a way.
Sure.
And they'll, like, take their kids out there, and it's like, dude, don't use that. Like, come on. You're just not... I'm not one to tell people how to raise their kids, but that's just a bad example.
Yeah, it's...
Because now you're using your child for your advantage, which first off is fucked in its own way, but
You're abusing the other people's emotions
yeah,
around you.
and it's super manipulating. Like, I don't get people.
I want to go back to the LDS thing and the Mormon thing because it's a very prominent topic here on the podcast, obviously living in Utah. I think a lot of it, like, too, is the fact that when you get told something at a young age, obviously, right, like, it's so impactful. And
Yeah.
it's hard to get out of that. It's hard to question it. But they're so good at creating fear,
Mm-hmm.
like, without straight up, like, to your face, like, telling you
Right.
something terrifying. But there's, like, I've had people on who are ex-LDS who are still afraid to look stuff up online because, like, it's so driven in their head. Don't do that. And I never knew that because I didn't grow up LDS. I didn't go to church. So I didn't know that, like, they tell you actively, like, no, don't go on the internet. Don't go look up stuff. Because there's so much information that discredits
Ask
it.
your bishop.
Yeah, and, I think there is something that as you mature into an adult where you don't want to look dumb.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the situation.
Yeah.
Like, we're programmed to not look stupid in
It's
front of
defense
others.
mechanism, definitely.
And I think that's what a lot of it turns into is, like, they've known something their whole life to be a certain way, and when someone questions them, they're so afraid of looking dumb that they're not willing to take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah,
Right.
kind of, oh, shit, yeah. No, I get it.
But I think we're at a time period in our lives where it's everly decreasing the population of LDS members just because there's so many people coming out telling people, like,
Dude. Like,
it's
take a
not.
step.
Yeah, it's not what it's cracked up to be. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I think a lot of it has to do with just the viewpoints, too. Because, I mean, whether people want to admit it, a lot of people are influenced by social media.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could teach whatever you want to teach to anybody you want for as long as they're willing to learn it. But once they start kind of making their own mind up and learning it, hey, I'm also interested in this or interested in this person. And that person has different viewpoints. I mean, you hang out with somebody long enough, you're bound to pick up some traits and stuff
of
from them.
course.
So I think that has to do with a lot of it is, a lot of these, not even younger, just people are kind of coming to their senses in a weird way. And it may not, benefit them immediately, but they'll kind of start like, all right, well, is this or is this? And then you realize, there's a lot more issues going on in the world with every different kind of group you can imagine. And there's a lot of support for that, even from people that don't know those kind of people.
Right.
So you see all this stuff going on in social media and they start feeling for it. And you're like, wow, there's actually, 4 or 5 kids in the neighborhood that are going through the same thing. And
Right.
if we're this good type of people, we should be helping it. And then everybody's like, uh-oh.
Well, and I think, too, a perspective that I think a lot of people don't realize is, like, growing up, like, let's say you were born in, like, the 70s, okay, and you were LDS, it was hard to find counter evidence unless you really went and searched for it, because, your local newspapers are all rooted to the church.
Yep.
The TV channels that you're watching are rooted fairly close to the church.
Right.
Your community, the mass majority are going to be rooted to the church. Like, especially if you live in, like, Bountiful, for example, like, it's prominent. Mormon.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when I was growing up. It's gotten a lot different now. But, like, it used to be so difficult. And now, like, we have so many resources where, like, I could look up online right now and be like, why shouldn't I believe in the LDS church? And there's going to be millions of searches that come up.
Yeah.
Not only huge podcasts like Last House on the Left.
Oh, yeah.
They did, like, a 5 or 6 part series about Mormonism. And I listened to it and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, if everyone listened to this, they would question all of it.
Yeah.
And it's...
And that's the thing, too, with me being outside of it this whole time, and I grew up with so many friends that were really into it, and my friends would always try to get me to go to church with them, and guys would always like, you want to go to school, a church dance with me? And my dad was like, no, because they're going to recruit you. Don't do it. It was always the fear growing up. But it's weird to see it from the outside like this, because you could see the, like, almost cultism that's going on and how hard they're pushing it.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Oh,
Well, he left one there for a long time and nobody drank it.
I was drinking
it.
Pitter patter, let's get at her, bud. So good.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just, it's funny to watch it from the outside, because, like, I listen to podcasts, a couple podcasts too, and it's a lot of it's about cults, and there's a lot of little triggers that are like, maybe you should call your dad.
I try and be really respectful because, like you said, like, I have so many friends and people I would even consider family who are, part of the church, and I definitely agree with you. Like, growing up, being out of it, and, like, I started asking a lot of questions at a pretty young age. Like, I was around 10 or 11 when I really started, like, well, why are they doing this on Sundays when me and my dad are watching football?
Yeah.
Like, where's the big difference here? Like, why do they all look bored and miserable leaving church, and me and my dad are, like, going to the gas station getting snacks and shit, having a jolly old time? And they do a lot of it sucks, because if you're involved in it, right, and it clicks one day and you're like, man, I'm starting to see the different side and I want to leave, they make it so scary, because it's like, oh, well, if you leave, There's
You
not gonna be
lose
that
everything
community.
you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family might disown you,
Yep.
you know. So it's almost, I want to know, and this is something you can't just go and ask people because they're not going to tell you, but
Right.
how many are still involved in the church just out of fear?
Right.
I'm sure it's a larger portion than anyone's willing to admit,
Right.
which is sad.
You'd have to get someone just like on their own, be like, so.
Yeah, because I
Feed you some booze and let's figure this out.
because
No.
there was this girl who used to be in our friend group who was, her family was LDS, and she was still kind of actively LDS, but on the weekend she was coming and getting fucked up and
Mm-hmm.
you know, doing things that you're not supposed to do as an LDS member.
The Jack Mormons.
Yeah. And like it definitely seemed like she was just so afraid of like taking that step and
Right.
telling her parents like, hey,
I'm done.
that ain't me.
Yeah.
And the people who do end up sometimes suffering pretty
Yeah.
hard.
Totally
Yeah.
ostracized. Like, takes black sheep to a new level.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I definitely, I feel the same way. Like, it's probably a pretty damn high number that stay there just because of their fear, and it may not even be like fear of the religion, just fear of what's gonna happen to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said, it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, yeah, well, your family, disown you, or everybody's gonna look at you different because they still practice and you don't. Like, it to me, it's just super manipulative, and you shouldn't have to deal with that. That's why, like, I don't know, I also had a lot of friends that were religious growing up, and they all kind of nobody ever really pushed it, but they kind of wanted to know my viewpoint because I'd ask them questions, and I was like,
Yeah.
look, I mean, believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not going to tell you can or it's right or it's
Sure.
wrong, but you should definitely question stuff and look into it before you just go to do it. But yeah, no, a lot of my buddies ended up kind of dropping out of that and doing their own thing, which is good for them.
Right.
And a lot of them realized that a lot of it was just BS and, like you said, fear.
Yeah, and I think too that when you start, I don't know, I haven't had to experience it, so I guess I'm speaking from an outside source, but I imagine when you start looking into it, it can really throw your whole entire life just upside down, because like if you're told to live like how you're supposed to, right, like all these
Mhm.
different things, and then you're starting to realize like, well, why can't I even drink tea?
Right.
And then like
Only
it's
hot tea.
yeah.
That
And then it
whole
spirals
weird- yeah.
into a whole bunch of stuff. But like the thing about the church, like they do a lot of great.
They do.
I always talk a lot of negative on here, and it's just the perspective that
Right.
I want to share to others. But they do a lot of great things.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
Utah
definitely.
has a great community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel comfortable in a lot of areas in Utah, or if I were to
Mhm.
just go travel other places, I don't know if I would. But you got to remember how great of backpedalers they are. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
without a doubt.
what was it in the 90s? African Americans couldn't even join the priesthood.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I mean-
they weren't allowed.
That's
And that's a modern. Like,
1990s is not long ago.
No.
I was born in 94. Like we're not far off from
92.
there, And then the whole thing with the LGBTQ
Yeah.
plus community, like
that's a whole different can of beans there.
to what, like 5-6 years ago, they were
Banned. Like,
they were
nothing.
banned. They were funding
All
organizations
the,
to fight
Against it,
against them.
The conversion
Kicking members
camps.
out of the church.
Yeah.
The conversion
The
camps.
conversion
and
camps.
The conversion freaking
Therapy.
Like,
And now they're
Why?
making statements like, hey, like
we didn't
it's
do
okay.
that.
it's okay. Like I agree, everyone grows, and I hope that I shouldn't say company, an organization
But I mean,
like the
way.
church would also grow with the times, and maybe that's what it is instead of backpedaling. But at the same time, at what point do people start looking at me like, are they just trying to fit the narratives to stay relevant?
Yep.
Like,
Debbie,
just trying
that
to
was,
cover their ass.
His
yeah.
mom, that was a big thing with her. She's like watching it all happen on the news, and she's like, why are they doing this? And we're over here like, Mom, they've been this way the whole time.
No.
You've just been so in it that now you're outside of it. Now you can
You
see it.
pulled the own cloud from your head. You
Yeah.
pulled your own head from the cloud. You're kind of seeing everything going on.
I'm so excited for them to realize, like, when they take their billions of dollars and start putting it in some medical marijuana,
Mm-hmm.
and then that article comes out where they're like, hey guys, guess what? We got that message from God. It's a plant he grew. A-okay.
Good to go. Yeah.
Good with us.
Like, Because that's
Realize
going to happen.
how
Oh,
much
without
money
a
they're
doubt.
gonna make.
Yeah.
Oh, so much money.
The way that just the LDS community in Utah specifically controls virtually everything that you can do, it's only a matter of time. Like,
Yeah. They'll see the money.
Yeah.
and that's what it is too. Is it's people don't like to refer to it, but I mean, you look at it, they're a fucking Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
Their net worth is astronomical compared to other religions.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, I hate it so much, but
Well, and I don't want to misquote, but I believe they're the only religion that requires
Payment.
tithing to get into heaven
yep.
Right.
or your celestial kingdom.
Right. Whichever level it is, because how much?
Yeah.
What? There's like 4
I think
levels or
there's
something.
7 total.
7?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
They
like,
took Dante's Inferno, made it good, and put it
Yeah.
up there.
exactly. Because I think that I can't remember all of it, but there's a couple charts you can look up, and all of them you require tithing to be able to get to your kingdom.
This is some Scientology shit right there.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I never understood it with his mom. She'd be like, I gotta write my tithing out, and she had this little envelope. She's gotta write it, put her money in it, and yeah.
So Biebert says that causes a slippery slope if they ever say yes to medical marijuana for recreational, because it is a plant. They would then have to say that tobacco and tea are also okay because they are plants. I mean, yeah, but
you're not wrong.
I think for them, if they can see the money in it, but not the money in tobacco and tea, they're gonna be like, I mean,
True, but they'd also probably put stipulations like they do with the tea.
yeah,
That's
can
very,
only
very
do
true.
it.
They also don't have to pay taxes because they're a religious organization.
that's the one thing that irks me the most. If they came out and decided to be like, hey, we're gonna get taxed now, everything that you do, I would be okay with.
Yeah,
Oh, without a
seriously.
For sure. Run whatever you want. Own this whole entire state.
But you're paying your taxes.
But you're paying your taxes.
Do you imagine that fucking backlash, though? Just the drop of... So, yeah, we owe like $16 billion in taxes. We just paid that.
Yeah, it was
We just-
fine.
it's
Wait,
fine.
what?
We just wrote a check.
Yeah,
I
it's
just-
fun.
I was saying with her tithing, she's on disability, Social Security. She makes no money.
Yeah,
Shit,
She
this
gets
woman...
$700 a month. She has to pay
Literally.
$70 a month in tithing.
it's crazy.
I'm like,
Yeah.
at least 10% of your income is what they say, or whatever it is. 10% of your
Mhm.
checks. That's ridiculous. And we would tell her all the time, like, Mom, you can't pay your bills, and you're paying $70 to the church. Well, I gotta keep my temple recommend and. Da, 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 da.
Well, I imagine though for her,
Like-
right? Like she may have stepped back from some stuff, but you know, how old is she? She's in her 60s.
60s, yeah, she's like
You know?
63, something like
If I was in her shoes, it's probably not worth the risk at this point to not
Stop,
do it.
yeah, definitely. Well, that and, you know,
that. I
that
don't think she
whole...
does it anymore.
That whole, like we were saying, just the fear type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, her mom, her whole family was super LDS. Like, her mom wouldn't even drink soda or anything like that.
Yeah.
But she
Up
drank beer.
until, you know, the last stages
She
of
had
her
her
life
Bud
when
Light.
she just didn't give a shit anymore. But,
Right.
yeah, no, it's that whole, like you said, just, I've done it so long, it's just, why stop?
Yeah.
Like, what does it matter
And
now?
if I do, what's going to happen? So, I understand that, but, I mean, still at the same time, like, she's had the same income for over 20 years now, and just, you know, there's times where we struggle paycheck to paycheck, and I make well over what the fuck she makes a month, and I'm like, how the fuck can anybody live like this?
And that's
and-
state, but you can live on this much.
Yeah,
That's how much we say you can
and
survive
it's-
on.
Right.
It's ridiculous because it's like, all right, well, how do you expect anybody, like, even with housing and whatnot, to get an apartment and still be able to pay,
Still have to wait 3 years.
and
to
then
get
still
one
be
house.
able to buy your groceries and pay your utilities and shit like that?
So Salty Frank says, dang, then could you imagine the cash a marijuana-based religion could make if they sold to their own congregation, not having to pay property tax or any kind of tax, on top of the fact it's all cash business since not being technically federally legal. Salty, I got a business idea I want to talk to you about later.
We got
Write that
this.
down.
Buy in right now.
We're going to 100% finally create Flying Spaghetti Monster religion,
For real.
and it's going to be based
Believe.
around based around marijuana. Well, how does that work for like a Rastafarianism? Because that's their
They just believe the higher you get, the closer you are to God, really.
right.
So it's still Christianity. It's still like a Christian church, but you also get high because you're closer to God. But I don't know. I guess I mean, I've never seen any of it here, so I'm assuming it's mostly practiced in states where it's legal.
Actually,
Recreation is legal, you know.
I don't know much about the. Is Rastafarianism a religion?
I think so.
I want to say yes. I don't know, so don't quote me.
I mean,
Yeah.
I consider
I
it
don't know.
more so like a way of life,
Yeah, like a
not
lifestyle.
necessarily a religion.
Yeah.
But there's,
Honestly,
I
it
mean,
should
there's
be.
definitely people that practice it and feel that that's their
religion.
calling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I'm gonna have to try and find someone who is and
Yeah.
have a
See
conversation
if you
with
can
because
get
that'd be cool.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I had a couple dudes that are Rastafarianisms.
That sounds like something that could be best
For
friends.
real, right?
We just become best friends.
We just become Russian.
Let's go do karate in the garage.
There's so much space for aerobics.
No, I just hope that it becomes readily legal. Whether people partake in it or not, that's up to them.
Right.
But like, come on,
It's a freaking plant.
we're at the point now where everyone's gonna do it or they're not gonna do it. Like, can
Well,
we just,
that and like, just get over your fucking self. Like, if
Yeah.
the state is okay with it, and obviously they're making a shit ton of money. I mean, totally everybody fucking knows about it. Look at Colorado.
Yeah.
As soon as they implemented it, they made what, like
a
They
lot.
have so much money
$22
in
million
surplus
the
now.
first
Their
year.
schooling is so good.
They don't know what to
And-
do with all their money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still federally illegal, and they can come in at any time and fucking kick your door in and take your plants because we're dickheads. But dude, just think about it. You could win the drug game. The federal government can control it. That's what they want to do, anyways.
Well, and I just don't.
Shit, they're probably halfway due already.
From a personal standpoint, I just don't quite understand it. Since I didn't grow up in the 70s and 80s, I don't understand the weed craze, right? Because they were so good at scaring people. Like, even my parents, like, I've had
I could call my
conversation.
dad and he could tell you all about it.
Yeah.
He was born in the 50s, so.
I've had conversation with my parents, right? And, like, when I was younger, they were so, like, anti-everything smoking. Like, it was like, oh, you're fucking stupid if you smoke. Like, you'll end up, like, a burnout and everything. And then as social media's come about and, like, my parents see people that they looked up to as kids or people that are highly successful and like,
That are
wait,
doing
he
it.
smokes weed? Wait, Elon Musk smoked weed on Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Like, all these different things. I think it's opening the eyes a little bit more to the reality that, dude, it's not, it doesn't do what you think it does.
No.
Can it be abused?
Yeah.
Yes. And is it addictive? That's a
Yeah.
weird conversation.
Kind of.
I don't think that it will make you physically addictive like heroin or something like that.
No, but mentally.
Mentally,
yes.
Yeah, it becomes comfort, right?
It's like
Yeah.
a cigarette almost. I mean, you know, a cigarette also can be argued the same way because it's nicotine. But
Right.
to me, it's like a cigarette. Like, you're addicted to
The feeling.
the feeling,
The
the
act.
action of lighting up a cigarette and putting it in your mouth. Same with weed, and hitting a bong or hitting a pipe or
Yeah.
a joint or whatever.
Because I've known people in my life who are definitely, I would say, are addicted to at least the feeling. Like,
Right.
I mean, how many times have you said to someone like, I can't function unless I'm smoking?
Uh-huh. I
You
had
know,
a friend
and-
in high school.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not normal without it anymore.
You know, and
Okay.
I'm totally cool with it. I honestly would rather have more high people around than drunk
Seriously.
people.
For real.
You know?
Well, hold on.
Depends.
Depends
but...
on the drunk people.
Right.
Me
but
and my friends group, we're a fucking blast.
But
So.
No,
you can't
for
pick
sure.
and choose drunk people. When you're high,
That's
you're pretty
true.
much, everybody's pretty much the same when you're high. You're just
Yeah.
like, chill.
I mean, make the same regulations. Can't drive. Don't be an asshole.
Right.
Like, don't do it in public. Don't do it around kids.
Seriously.
Like, there'll be
Restaurant,
ethics,
like-
right? 'Cause
Yeah,
there's-
definitely.
And where's the problem?
Exactly.
I mean, secondhand high, I guess, like,
It's not even that bad.
it's not really relevant.
Fuck.
I mean, I've been in a room where everyone was smoking and I wasn't, and I got hotbox, and I definitely still got a little high.
Oh yeah, without a
I've
doubt.
never been
But-
that far yet,
But, you know,
We can
I've...
get you there.
I had a pen at one point. Your brother stole it.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah.
I don't see... In 2020, I find a hard time seeing negatives.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just the
I think right now,
advantages it
everybody just smoke
has.
some and chill. Fucking relax.
Just the advantages it has medically.
Oh, yeah.
Just they outweigh almost any negative you can come up with it. Like, yeah, there's definitely people that, you know, abuse the system and
For sure.
use marijuana for sure. My
Absolutely.
father is definitely fucking one of them. But as far as, you know, kids that have to take pills and all this dumb shit because they have
Seizures.
epilepsy or whatever it may be, and you give them a little bit of CBD and it's almost instantaneous. Like,
Yeah, CBD's wonderful.
why deny that?
Yeah.
Just because you guys want to fucking line your pockets with all the
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals you own?
Yeah.
Step into the Wii game.
Yeah.
There's this little girl I follow on Facebook. Her page is just called Supernova. Her name is Nova Lee.
Oh.
She's this beautiful little girl.
It's typically how it goes, though, right?
Uh-huh. But she's got something wrong. She's got some genetic malformation in her brain. She's missing, like, parts of her brain. Didn't form. So she's only got, like, a third of her brain. So she lives on CBD because there's the only way they can calm her seizures. Because as she's getting older, every time her hormones change, she just goes into fits, and they have to readjust. And it took them years and years and years to find CBD to make it work. They had to move from some other state to Colorado to get it because it was illegal where they were. They couldn't travel back and forth. And they told her mom, that she wasn't going to live past, like, a day. When she was born. She survived a week, and then they said, well, okay, this has been great. Don't get lucky. She won't survive a month. She made it 3 months, and then it's just been, now she's 7 or 8 years old.
Wow.
So she's been doing well, but she's gotten really bad again. Like, they haven't been posting on Facebook, and she's like, I'm not going to post until we get her back to normal.
Right.
But that's the only thing that saves her is CBD.
Right.
They have to give her the little tinctures. She's got little syringes that they fill with the CBD stuff, and it's the only time she can be seizure-free. She has like 300 plus seizures a day when she's messed up, and she can't talk. The poor thing, her eyes are all screwy and her teeth are messed up, and it's sad.
Yeah, me too.
But CBD has helped, and I cannot understand why they won't, like, just this one case. You can take that and be like, shit, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
without giving much information, I know a little bit about the world that revolves around. Well, I mean, I guess that answers it.
That answers it.
I won't brush much on it just out of respect and personal life, but my girlfriend is Bieber, and her son does have a rare disease called Lennox-Gastaut, and basically he has every seizure that you can think of. And through the years, I mean, me and Bieber were just talking about this morning. He's been on handfuls of medication and different things like that, but they just, over the past, I can't remember, a couple of years, have come up with a CBD called Epidiolex, which is the first regulated CBD where every dosage will be the same regardless. Like, it's not, because with like marijuana or THC, it's always different.
It's variable, yes.
With this CBD, it's always the same, so it can actually be regulated. It actually can be measured, and when you're giving it, you're giving that right amount instead of like a stronger dose or a lesser dose. And it's helped. Like, it's definitely changed quite a bit of the situation. But, just in her case, like, it has been, I mean, aside from the Epidiolex, but all the other stuff, like dealing with pharmaceuticals and, the government, and there's so many hoops you have to jump through and so much added stress, when in reality, where's the priority? Is it making sure that all the money's aligned, or is it the fucking
person gets healthy?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, and that's the frustrating part for me going in, is like, and I'm sure Bieber, like, I can't even imagine having to deal with it for as long as she did, but like, how can they not see that it's just a kid who needs his fucking meds? Why is it so difficult
we need to stop the seizures? Like, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because it's money, man. It makes the world go round, and as fucked up as it is, that's just the way life is.
It just sucks that he didn't. I guess it's it's not. It really isn't. It's not like he did something to make this happen, like some people do, or like he's just born this way, and now his mom has to jump through loops every single month just to get the stuff he needs.
It's ridiculous. And I feel for you. I'm very sorry. That's shitty.
Yeah.
And I'm glad there's improvement coming. That's good. I like it.
Yeah. But back to the CBD thing, like, with just watching him and seeing the improvement that it's had, why are we not?
Seriously.
Like, why are we not?
Because bro.
So, going back, kind of touching back on my mom, like I said, that accident she's been on any fucking medication you can imagine.
Oxycontin and Codone.
For years. Like, she
her
takes
first
them.
ones were 80s.
Yeah,
one of them is an 80 milligram pill she takes 3 times a day.
Oof.
The other one, she has breakthrough pills that are 30 milligrams. She can take 3 of those in a day in between.
And it's
She's
not
in that much pain.
It's not the fact that, I mean, obviously when she started it, she would get that high feeling or whatever.
Well, and it actually
but it wasn't.
She could stand
it wasn't. she was doing it to do it. It was,
right, it wasn't.
She needed it to numb the pain enough she can go through normal day-to-day life. And this has been fucking years of this shit.
13, 14
and then
years.
all of a sudden, when everything started going down, they're like, oh, we need to take you off of it. And it's like, wait, hold up. So now you're going to take her off of it after, let's just do a roundabout number of 10 years. Think about the side effects of prolonged use of that shit.
Right.
So she goes through all this. They take her off that. They add her lower tabs or whatever. They take all that shit away.
Her milligram,
And then, recently, I think it was 2 years ago, she got a new pain doctor because her other one was just a fucking...
She still has them.
That dude was a fuck twat, for sure. But, so she gets this new pain doctor, and her medical chart is absurd.
Her folder's like that thick. I've been to the doctor with her. It's like that thick.
It's just the shit she, new shit. If you go all the way back, it's, she got a whole binder. But he was going over everything, and he's like, look, we're not, whoever told you is fucked. He's like, what do you need to get you to a level that you can day-to-day live? Because she fucking sits on a chair all day long because it hurts her to get up and do anything. She has to walk upstairs. She has to go to the grocery. You know what I mean?
Right.
Normal tasks that you need to do to survive, she can't do. So he's like, what do you need to get you to where you can do it? You don't necessarily need to be comfortable, but, So she told him, and then going over it all, he's like, look, I'll give you the recommendation. You can get your medicinal card. You can go get whatever you need to get you there. The whole problem is because it's not federally legal, the state isn't going to pay for shit.
Right.
So everything that she wants to do that route, she has to pay for out of pocket. With her being on limited income, she can't really afford it. So it's a catch-22. I definitely want that to be a bigger priority. And if she could take CBD over any of the fucking opiates and anything else she's been on, without a doubt, dude, I'll support it myself. But just the fact that it's so frowned upon, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. You see this and people don't look at it like, oh, you take opiates, you must be a junkie. It's like, no, bitch, she takes it because she needs to be able to do what you can do every day.
Right.
And then, obviously with that comes different side effects. She has to take steroids because her lungs are fucking dying on her and her heart kills her and all this shit. She has to take water pills because her body retains water. All this turned her into a diabetic because your fucking appetite and everything like that.
She had that when she was a kid. She didn't know it, but yeah.
All of it kind of goes hand in hand because she had to be on this. And if you think about it, how much of this could she have avoided 10, 20, 30 years ago when all this shit happened and they were like, go eat a brownie.
All right.
You know what I mean?
No.
Super simple, and just the fact that companies want to make that kind of money off insurance is just ridiculous.
Well, and I think too, with CBD, it's not the fun thing that you get from smoking pot.
No, definitely not.
You're not gonna get high. You might feel a little different.
Right.
You know how I've never done oxys or anything like that or Xanax, but I know for a fact it does make you feel high.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So
he almost overdosed on it.
How are we not honestly, how are we not funding that when we know that there's not as bad side effects and that it's cheaper to make?
Oh, without a doubt.
And that it would be you could pretty much give it to everybody.
Yeah.
And look at, not only that, but look at the fatality rates of any type of medicinal
You can't die from weed.
marijuana in any shape or form.
Yeah.
The cases of people actually dying from a weed in general related anything.
It's because they were dumb as fuck.
Well, not only that, but weed being the bagging cause of it.
Yeah.
You were high, you went and drove a car and got in an accident and killed yourself. Okay, that's your fucking choice, first off. But the fact that people are like, oh, well, this and this causes this. It's like, no, look at it, okay? I took one Oxycontin in my life. I took a 30 milligram, and I took it spaced out. I took half, and then half 8 hours later. And I fucking almost overdosed because I had my fucking face blown up.
Right.
It was my only time ever taking it, the only time I'm ever going to fucking take it.
Yeah.
And what did it do for the pain? It literally killed the pain for an hour.
Because then he was
and the rest of the time, my body was high as fuck. I couldn't feel shit. But the pain was still there. I couldn't function because of it. And then when I decided, all right, enough's enough, I'm going to take this other half just so I can fucking sleep and go to work in the morning. Next thing I know, I'm getting fucking body convulsions. My stomach's fucking tensing up and
I was just
releasing.
asleep next.
I go get in the shower, look in the
Nothing.
fucking mirror, my lips are blue as shit and I'm pale. Like,
Jesus.
what the fuck? And all this could have been avoided from me taking CBD.
We're right. And I just... Let's put it on the recreational side of marijuana, too. Where I'll wait for someone to give me a negative.
Right.
Okay, yeah, your lungs might get affected if you smoke a lot.
You're gonna cough.
You're going to cough, right?
You smoke cigarettes and you cough. all
So,
the time.
with that though, I mean, you can't... Yes and no. It's a stupid argument, but there's people like, oh yeah, smoking it is going to affect your lungs. Well, is it the plant affecting your lungs, or is it the gases from the lighter you're using that you're inhaling?
Well, right.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying is like if we're talking about straight recreational use, like, hey, instead of us going and getting liquor, we went and got some fucking edibles or like a bag or whatever and we smoke, where are the negatives? Like, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's long-term effects. Like, we realize that if you drink alcohol for 10, 15, 20 years, like,
Your
it will
liver
kill your
dies.
liver. You know, like, I'm sure we'll find out some long-term effect of if you smoke every single day. But that's on the person, right? Moderation is key in life.
Exactly.
So I'm just waiting for them to give me a real hard evidence of, like, why recreational is bad, too, because...
Something factually backed.
Like, what are we doing? Like...
What was it called back in like the 70s when they had the whole thing about it? There's like something panic. I can't remember what it was called.
Reefer madness?
Reefer
Yeah,
madness.
reefer madness.
I think that's what everybody, like all these old people are going off of now. They still have that.
Fucking boomers. For
Yeah.
Sure.
That fucking video you watched in your 8th grade class?
Yeah.
Like, and I've watched some of it too, and it's the stupidest video.
Well, because I think now that we're in 2020, people realize that was business propaganda. If they got, because hemp, if we talk about hemp, right? Hemp is amazing.
Yep.
And if hemp was legal and hemp was manufactured the right way, it would kill a lot of big business.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want that. So the one way to do it is like, well, it's fucking propaganda.
Ask those older people, too, if they realized that at one point in time it was actually illegal to use paper products and you had to farm hemp.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't even fucking know that.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that anything hemp-related is astronomically better in any sort of way. I mean, look at hemp paper.
It's like
Way
cheaper
more
to make,
durable and
it's easier
biodegradable.
to, like-
Yeah. Biodegradable is the big part.
Yeah, you're not cutting down trees. You're growing a plant to make paper.
I literally have a shirt. It's a hemp shirt. Cozy as shit. Good quality.
Nah,
Doesn't
fuck
ever,
me, bud.
like, it doesn't stink. Like, you know how, like, if you wear a shirt for, like, if you're sweating all day,
Yeah.
like, it doesn't really absorb
smells
the
like
sweat.
dirty con. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know. Yeah, exactly. But no,
Fucking retarded.
and to give perspective on this is I'm not a stoner. I'm really not. I've maybe in the past year maybe smoked 4 times,
I'm about there.
maybe 5.
In my whole life.
Yeah.
So.
Like, and I am a firm
I'm
believer
against it.
too that weed is not for everybody.
No,
Because
I know.
that narrative of people who are so pro weed were like, well, fuck, everyone should smoke it. No, absolutely
No,
not.
not everybody.
It affects some people really bad, and
You
it's,
people that are already dumb don't do it.
yeah, yeah, don't need more dumb.
My friend, she's like, it just gives me a headache every time, no matter what kind I've ever smoked. It just gives me a raging migraine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well that's fine. I get headaches, but I think it's just because I wasn't smoking the right kind. And I also tried to use a vape pen instead of, because I'm a wimp. I can't do like pipes or anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's...
What's Salty saying?
I live in an area completely named after tobacco and tobacco products. I can't wait till hemp and marijuana are legalized, changes the industry, and they all of a sudden rename my village to Weedville.
I agree with that. Tabaccoville's a crazy place, Salty.
To be known for it?
Yeah, no, yeah, like that was their main. I mean, Salty's talked about it quite a bit on here. Oh, and for the record, Salty's our mod,
Oh.
so he's a regular. He's
What's
the
up, dude?
he's the boy. The city that he lives in is a tobacco producing city, and that's like their main source of revenue.
Yeah.
And I don't know, cigarettes and all that type of stuff is another argument because, you know,
The industry.
The industry. I mean, I don't really have much of an opinion to give on tobacco.
No,
I think nicotine is nicotine.
It's also a plant. I mean,
Yeah.
it just grows that way.
I mean,
I think cigarettes in itself are rough just because of the additives.
Right.
But if you want
Everything they
to
put in there.
roll your own cigarettes and smoke your own tobacco,
Shoot.
you do you.
I think, well, if you could find, like, if you got tobacco and, like, grew it yourself.
I think that'd be better.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't, it honestly probably wouldn't even stink. I don't know.
No.
I mean, I'm an ex-smoker, and when I get drunk enough, I still smoke.
Yeah.
But I don't.
He's a social smoker.
I don't
I'm the
need
same
it.
way. It sucks.
I don't, like, there was a point where I was, you know, pack and a half, 2 packs a day, and it, you know, every break I need a cigarette, or
Yeah.
I need to go smoke after I eat or after I shower, whatever it may be. And, you know, it's mind over matter at that point. You don't need it, you just want it.
Yeah.
And now, it's the same scenario. Like, I could go every single day-to-day life, and I don't need it. I don't feel like I need it. I don't want it. And then when I drink, it's just because I'm drinking. I want the feeling.
Yeah.
And it's not even, like, I'll wake up the next day and be like, God, I taste like ass. Like, it's trash, and I feel like shit. I'm coffee, and it's just not good. But it is what it is, you know?
So don't quote me on this, everybody, but American spirits are no additives, correct?
They say they're not. I don't really know. I will say they taste better than a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah.
They for sure burn longer, and that shit sucks because it takes a lot longer to smoke.
Yeah, because if I were to, because I used to smoke a little bit too. Like I never got to a pack a day. I was like a pack maybe every 2 weeks, week or every 2 weeks. And I did Camel Crush because I really like menthol. And then I moved to American Spirits because I was like, oh, I still get what I want out of it minus all the bad shit.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt better
Mm-hmm.
smoking American Spirits over like
Camel.
Crushes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like once you get out of smoking, period, you're like, oh,
You feel way better.
that did affect me more than I thought it did in the moment.
And that's a whole crazy thing too, is just looking at the impact people put themselves through because of shit they want.
Yeah.
That's a whole different, I don't know. It's weird for sure. But, I mean, going on that same note, who wouldn't do what they want when they want? If you could.
Right. True. Yeah, I don't really have a strong. Part of me thinks that maybe there should be higher regulations on cigarettes, but then part of me is like, I don't like regulation, and I think everyone should be able to do what they want.
Right.
So-
So you're gonna put the
so
thing in
the
your
re-
body, do the thing.
Yeah,
That's
the
your
regulation on it, like, I could definitely get, like, your additives and shit. As far as, like, age limits, I think a lot of that is just complete horseshit. My probably my firmest belief in anything, like, I'm against in the government, shit like that, is your age requirements. So, if you're, 17 years old in high school, the day you turn 18, you could fucking drop out and go serve your term in the military. No
Right.
questions asked. They don't give a shit. But yeah, in that same note, if you can sign your life away then, but when you get an apartment, you're 18, most of the time you still need some type of parent consent or whatever it may be. Or even, okay, that's cool, you can go and volunteer your service, which, all your vets, thank you. But at the same time, like, okay, you can do that with your own free will, but we're going to make it to where
You can't have a drink.
when you're
you can't
stressed,
smoke,
you can't go fucking do anything you want to do, okay?
Yeah.
You may not have been a smoker. You may have picked it up in a different country where it's legal. Well, now you want a cigarette, you come back to the U.S. and you can't buy it because you're not 21.
Right.
Or, you want to have a beer with your friends that are fucking 30 years old. You know what I mean? And now you can't go have a beer at a bar with your buddies because you're 19 and you're not allowed in the bar. Like, to me, that is my biggest, like, pet peeve with the government in general. Like, why? What purpose does that serve you? Because, I mean, when you're making money off of it,
Right.
regardless, but it's okay for you to tell this young-ass kid that, yeah, you can go fucking die tomorrow, but you can't have a cigarette. What?
Right.
I think it should, like, to me, it makes sense. If you're gonna sign up, you're gonna go do your military stuff, you're gonna do your term, that legally makes you an adult. I don't care what age you are.
Right.
you're gonna come back an adult whether you wanted to be or not.
Mm.
You could still say you're 18. You're still gonna come home, or whatever age you are when you come back. You're gonna be an adult regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Do a lot of growing up doing that. So they should let you do it. Like, you can show your military ID and be like, yeah, I'm 18, but you know.
There should be exemptions. Yeah, I get that.
I think I don't know where my opinion really lands on that, but I will say that I think the older that you give restrictions on things, the more likelihood of people rebelling and trying
Exactly.
doing it anyways.
Yeah.
Getting someone to buy a form,
Because I will 100% attest to, like, I probably wouldn't have drank if the legal age was 18. I drank because it was illegal and it was fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it was like sticking it to the man.
Yep.
And then when I turned 21, my drinking went
You're like,
way down. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's
I was like,
not-
this isn't the same.
it's not fun no more.
Yeah.
it's that, I guess it's the rush.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So at what point do we, like, because, like, we can talk about vaping and e-cigs and, you know,
Blowing up in your face.
Juuls.
No.
like, we can talk about that too if you want. But it's so, like, I have a couple of my good friends have younger brothers who were in high school in the past 4 or 5 years. And they say it was like every break there was, kids would go out to their car and they would just be juuling in their car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're not allowed to buy them, so how are they getting them?
Right.
Salty says, I think most substance should be legal as long as you can prove that you have knowledge of the effects, short-term and long-term, what it will do to you, and prove you aren't needed in a job position where it will influence your performance there. And I only mean like situations like where that would put someone else at risk if you weren't all there. So like a construction, if you were like a driver
Heavy
or
equipment
something.
or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Well, what? Almost all drugs that you take say do not operate heavy equipment, do not drive, do
Yeah.
not operate heavy machinery.
Shit,
Okay, go home
NyQuil
and
says
sleep.
it.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
Fucking night.
NyQuil's a bad thing.
it's a bad thing.
Whoever thought of that, you deserve a kick in the dick.
But yeah, with like the Juuls and stuff, it's totally turned not only into a nicotine habit, but it's turned into almost like
It's
a reputation statement at
exactly.
schools. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, he's juuling, he's a fucking in, he's
Yeah.
cool.
You gotta be cool, man.
So like, I think society kind of fucked up on that one, like putting so much hate and stress into it because of course kids are gonna think it's cool as shit.
Well, not only that, but you're marketing popular flavors.
Yeah.
Flavors that, one, kids are gonna enjoy,
Yeah.
and two, people weren't smoking cigarettes because of the flavor. They say they are. They're fucking lying because cigarettes taste like asshole.
Yeah.
But the whole purpose of e-cigarettes were to wean you off tobacco and nicotine. So if they would have stuck with the normal, like, it tastes like tobacco, then I'm pretty sure not a lot of fucking kids would have been doing it because tobacco doesn't taste good. And if you've ever had tobacco-flavored e-juice, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
It's rough.
Because there's nothing good about it. It tastes like a burnt coil no matter how you look at it.
Well, and I think too that if exactly what you said, you know, because I believe that they made it illegal now to make flavors that were
Like, pushed
towards younger, like,
Children, yeah.
because I Juuled for a little bit. I sound like fucking such an idiot saying that. I used a Juul for a little while, and then like had a couple disposable ones. And I won't lie, there's these disposable ones that I bought at a gas station that were like a Tiger's Blood coconut flavor. Tasted fucking great, but that's not good, right?
No.
So if every Juul and vape tasted like fucking Marlboro Black, then probably kids wouldn't be fucking with them.
No. And that's a whole other business that we crashed too.
Right.
And, I mean, to go with that,
I even bought one without nicotine. I would just buy juice without nicotine
Yeah.
so I could have to taste it.
that's
Oh.
exactly
I'm
what it
cool.
was. Yeah.
Like-
You wanted to fit in with society, and you wanted to be...
I smoked
part
it
of the
3
cool
times.
group.
It went in my purse and I lost it.
And,
So
yeah, no, I mean, I definitely... So my whole scenario with that is... So I got into vaping because I was trying to get off smoking.
with
And
me, it was a lot easier to be around him when he
I
didn't smell like cigarettes.
I only did that because of her. Like, if I wouldn't have married her or anything, I'd probably still fucking smoke to this day just because I don't give a shit about myself. Obviously. But, I did it, you know, because I got married. I wanted to, you know, have longevity in the future and that. So I was like, look, there's some shit you gotta fix. So I decided, all right, well, I'll just fucking jump on the bandwagon. go that route. Not gonna lie, the first fucking flavor I bought was tobacco, and that shit was nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And then
So
I
then
got
it was
into
like
fucking
frickin' blueberry
like some
menthol.
strawberry kiwi shit, and then I found out blue raspberry is fucking fire no matter what the fuck it's in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, went that whole route, and I had like, you know, a little stupid little pen or whatever for a while, and it just, yeah, it worked, but I didn't feel like I was getting enough of it, no matter milligrammage or the measurement of how they add the nicotine. Just wasn't working. So that's when I decided to get like the mod, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that whole awesome fucking story. So I got my face blown up by an e-cigarette for a lot of people that don't know. Not a fun fucking Saturday, that's for sure. But
If you see the teeth missing,
it was kind of during that whole craze where a lot of it was on the news all the time, and
People,
it was
that guy's pocket.
it was the whole like unregulated mods. And yeah, everybody's gonna fucking say it like, oh, you shouldn't have been doing it yourself, blah 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 blah. Let's get the facts straight right now. One, I didn't fucking build it myself, so don't go there. Two, it was a well-known shop in Utah that built the fucking mod.
And it wasn't
That built
even
the
that part
coils.
that blew up.
And it's a very well-known battery company that everybody uses. If you have a mod, I guarantee you probably have this battery in your mod right now. I'm not gonna say the brand, but it's like a 18650 and it's purple. Take a guess.
Right.
But so brand new battery, brand new mod. Sorry, mod wasn't new. It was a previously used tugboat for 2 months. Everything was fine. It's a mechanical mod. You push the button on the bottom, it ignites your coils. Essentially, you're creating a short circuit.
Right.
So, went to said smoke shop, had everything put on, did all the good shit. It was right when the Mutant RDX 4, whatever the fuck came out, top of the line RDA. Cool. I had it. I bought everything, had them build it. I had it a week from the time they built it. At this point, I was kind of trying to wean myself off of vaping as well, because I realized I was spending more money vaping than I was on cigarettes, which is a whole other fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't get that shit. It's cheaper. No, it's fucking not. But, so, going through all that, yeah, I had it a week, everything was cool, used it, every so often, whatever. Battery started to die, so my brother was a really big vapor, vaped every fucking day, so he had the multiple charger.
Yeah.
So we go over to my mom's house, my brother's there, and we're getting ready to address wedding invitations.
Me and Debbie were doing that.
So I go back, throw the battery on the charger. Went to the dollar store before this, and I found dope-ass dollar store nunchucks.
They were chasing each other over the
I was going
house.
to go fuck my brother over some nunchucks. It was pretty awesome. But, so yeah, do that, throw the battery on the charger. I let it charge for a little while. And I went and grabbed the battery, threw the battery in the mod. Obviously, you got to put the battery in the right way, otherwise it won't work. Different, contrary belief. Oh, you put it in upside down. No, it doesn't work. You need the positive and negative in the right way for it to work. It's just how it goes. So, throw the battery in, set it down. I didn't hit it whatsoever. Probably 20 minutes or so went by, and I come back in the room, and I look, and I see the button kind of pushed on the bottom of the mod. But it wasn't igniting, nothing was hot on it, it was cool, I checked it, it wasn't dry cotton, nothing like that. So, I threw the top back on, unscrewed the bottom, looked at my little button, noticed the pin was sticking out farther than it should have been to push the button. So I screwed the pin back in like you can, put everything back on, it's just fine. And I literally had it sitting in my hand like this, arm over the chair, watching, I don't remember what the fuck we were watching. It was a funny ass movie. But I went to hit it. I got about right here. And next thing I know, a shotgun blast goes off in my face. So
I'm up in the kitchen and we heard it. No, we told you about Debbie. She's crippled. She can barely maneuver. That woman shot up out of her chair and ran down the hallway faster than I've ever seen her move. I'm in the kitchen like, what happened? What's going on?
So this happens.
I heard him scream. I've never heard anybody scream like
So
that. So that's what scared me.
The way I remember it is different than the way everybody else remembers it, and it's probably because of trauma or adrenaline, whatever it may have been. But, so bam, this shit goes off in my face. I get a bright flash. I don't fucking, whatever. I'm seeing all tweet. And fucking, my ears are ringing like a sumbitch. Like, have you ever shot a shotgun without ear protection? You're standing right next to the barrel. That's what it sounded like. So this happens. This whole time I'm still sitting in the chair. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look over and the fucking carpet's on fire. I'm in my grandma's house with new carpet in the room. 1, you don't fuck up grandma's carpet.
Right.
2, your fucking house is on fire. Oh shit. So
his brother was in the room, got up.
my brother's in the room and he's like, oh fuck. So he gets up and he goes and starts patting it out.
It had got in like 3 seconds. It went from the floor to this high up the wall.
Yeah,
the wall
it was
all black.
quick.
It was
so
fast.
What happened was it shot the bottom of the mod off.
A screw on. It shut it off.
It stripped the thread, shot the bottom off, and like half the battery essentially.
So all that battery.
So lithium battery. So I like I said, woo, fucking ears are ringing. I'm like, oh shit, and I see him get up to go put the fire out, and instantly my same thought is like, oh fuck, fire. So I get up to go help, and I'm in a recliner. I don't have the legs up. I'm just kind of chilling back, and I go to stand up, and I do this. I'm like, and I kind of put my head like this, and I get up, and I look down, and I just see blood coming out, and I'm like, oh shit, fucking carpet. Still, carpet.
Right.
So I do this, and I just see red in chunks, and I'm like, oh fuck, that's not good.
That's
and
when
apparently that's when I started screaming. I don't remember this at all.
It was just this loud, like,
Yeah, and I was like, fuck. And in my head, I was like, fuck. What the fuck? So I'm like, shit. And I knew it was bad when my brother put the fire out, and he looked at me, and he was like, oh, fuck.
He was like, sit down.
And I was like, no, like, I gotta go fucking, I'm bleeding. Like, get me a fucking towel. I gotta go clean myself up.
I had come around the corner at this point, so
and I knew I was fucked up, and not to take a jab at her, but she's kind of a drama queen when it comes to stuff, so my instant thought was, I'm fucked up, don't let her see me.
That's what he kept saying, was don't let her.
Because I was like, don't let Sarah come in here, like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong, like, let me gather myself before I deal with you. So I'm in the fucking bathroom, blood dripping out my face, like rushing, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I turn the faucet on, wash my hands. My whole arm is just black. My hand is black. I got like specks all the way up my arm, just like black powder. Like I just fucking inked my hand.
Oh wow.
And I'm in the bathroom, in the sink. Fucking blood's going. I'm trying to not put anything in my mouth because I can't really feel it at the moment. I can't feel my face. And I'm like, I don't know. It's bad. Whatever it is, I'm fucked. Like, at that moment, I knew there was that much blood. My hand's black. I'm like, I got it. I know what happened. How bad is it, though? I don't know. So, in the bathroom, she comes down, freaking out. Everybody's freaking out. And I'm like, just fucking call a paramedic. Do what we need to do to get somebody here to make sure I'm not going to fucking die of blood loss or whatever. Because at this point, my shirt's covered, and I'm fucking in the sink. Blood's just rushing. It's not stopping. I got cold water. I'm trying to put it on my hand and shit.
Debbie's like, don't look in the mirror.
Yeah, she's like, don't look in the mirror. And I look up and I'm like, oh, fuck.
He started like shaking.
So, I'm like, and that's kind of when everything started setting in. So I go and I sit on the toilet. I'm just fucking, like, oh, fuck. And
give him a towel. He soaked
they
one
give me a towel and I
Here's
fucking just
one.
blood's going and I'm like, I can't feel anything. Like, I can't feel my hand. I can't feel my face. I don't even know if I have a tongue at this point because I can't feel anything inside my mouth. Like, I don't feel my teeth. I don't feel my tongue. I don't feel my lips. Nothing.
But this whole time he was talking. He was joking with us. So
I was trying to, like, keep everybody calm because I knew that I was fucked and if I panicked, it was going to get way worse.
Right.
And I was, internal. I'm like, fuck. God damn it. But, so, yeah, we call the paramedics. Paramedics come and they're kind of checking me out. And they're like, all right, well, we should definitely get you to a hospital. We could put you in the ambulance. Me not thinking, one, I would have been totally fine to ride in a fucking car because I'm an idiot. I was like, fuck it, yeah, let's go. Get me out of here. Like, so yeah, no, that's a stupid fucking bill right there.
Sorry, but don't ever go to the certain hospital in West Valley on 35th South. Don't go there.
Jordan Valley Hospital.
Okay, you want to talk about it? It's now Jordan Valley West. It used to be Pioneer Valley. Don't go there. I
want to say anything. We'll skip that part. Nothing bad about it. Go there if you
That's
need
all
to.
I'm saying. I mean, if it's emergency shit, there's some good things.
Skipping over that to not get anybody in trouble. Ultimately, what it came down to was, at that particular time, the doctor didn't feel confident in his abilities to do what he figured I needed.
Okay.
So, they're like, hey, we got another ambulance on the way. And I was like, oh, whoa, wait, what? They're like, yeah, we got to transfer you to a hospital, very popular hospital that can do this for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, can I just drive? And they're like, no, we already called the ambulance. Like, there's nothing we can do at this point.
Because you rode in one from your house to here,
You have to
we
ride
have to
in
put
one.
you in one to take you from here to there.
So,
And I'm like,
out of all this, I got
okay.
like an $8,000 ambulance bill, which is fucking retarded. But anyway, so all this shit happens. You know, so-and-so doctor's like, yeah, we can't do anything for you. I will say this, though. If you're going to be in the medical field, expect blood. Expect shit to happen.
and don't get.
And if I ever come across the nurse that couldn't clean my finger out, I really hope you're better at your job now. Because that was the lightest thing you could have done. So, going back to the story. My hand is all black.
Tell you when we're done.
Super messed up. This place says, yeah, we don't feel like we can do it. And I was like, cool, well, can I at least like get this cleaned up?
And
I
give
was
me
like,
a pain pill.
it kind of hurts. Like, I'm starting to feel everything. The adrenaline's wearing off. They're like, we can't give you anything because we don't know if you swallowed anything, if your esophagus is burnt, whatever. So, they were like, yeah, we can't give you it. I was like, fine, cool, whatever. I was like, can we clean this up, though? Like, this is pretty gnarly. I can't see my face. It's not worrying me. But I see my finger, and I see muscle tissue, and it's not good.
You can see the scar.
Yeah, like, it's gnarly.
Oh,
But
fuck yeah.
ultimately what happened is it blew through my finger, stripped away the muscle and everything like that, and it was just the fat in my finger next to my bone
L
that was...
cut was just
Yeah.
swelling.
So, my finger was giant. I looked like Andre the Giant with a finger.
Just one
But
finger.
she's over there, and she comes in with a bottle of isopropyl alcohol that has a little kind of shot glass about yay big on the top. And
So
you
they
like
can squirt it.
you squeeze it, and it fills the shot glass up.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that's kind of cool. So, and she comes in with like a little like scrub brush.
Like an SOS, like a dish sponge.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, this probably won't feel very good. But at this point, whatever.
He's got a towel or throw it back here in his hand like this.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and she literally got like 3 scrubs in. It was like, ugh.
Yeah, she was looking at it going,
And she's like,
gagging.
I'm sorry, I can't do this, and walked away. And I'm like,
We're all sitting there like, are you shitting me?
it's like, one, this is an emergency room. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah,
Like,
new
it was
ambulance
bad,
gets
but,
there.
like, I could have cleaned it.
And
Come on.
dudes from the other hospital, pretty fucking
The
funny
paramedics
dudes.
that came to pick him up were so funny.
But so yeah, and they're trying to do their job, and I'm a bigger guy. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, you don't need to lift me, dude. Like, I can walk. And they're like,
They're like, okay.
no, we got it. Like if you want to walk and get on it, that's cool. We'll lift you like into the truck and shit. I'm like, no, like I can walk to there. Like, I'm
No,
good.
no.
They're like, no, like.
This is regulation.
They're like,
Get
we
on
need
the
to
bed."
do it. And I was like, oh, fuck, fine. So fucking, waddle my ass over, get on the bed. They start pushing me out. And I'm like, bye, bitches. Like, you can't fucking do anything for me. What the fuck are you doing here? Anyway, so they go, we get out to the fucking ambulance. And I look down and I'm like, that's a pretty big fucking lift. And they're like, what? And I'm like, that's like a good 4 feet, dude. Like, I'm a big guy. You're not going to be able to lift me. They're like, no, we got it. And I'm like, for real? Like, let me get off and get in. They're like, no. And this dude was a little shorter than me, and he was pretty big himself. But he was struggling. And I was like, dude,
when he
come
got
on.
to the room,
Like,
he was like,
so they got him on the back, and the other dude's on the front. And granted, the back has like the extended legs or whatever.
For sure.
But him just trying to lift, I was like, oh my god, dude, what? So they lift me in. Fucking long ass ride from West Valley to the U. So we're sitting there and they're, taking my vitals, trying to get me to talk, telling me not to swallow the blood because it'll make me sick, whatever. And he's like, so, I mean, what happened? And I was like, well, fucking e-cigarette blew up in my face. And he was like, no shit. I was like, yeah. I was like, I was addressing wedding invitations. He's like, oh, well, I guess she leaves you now. She's really shallow, huh? I was like, yeah, I guess so. So yeah, go through the ride. We get to the room, and I'm sitting there. I look at her. I'm like, he said, if you leave me now, you're really shallow. But it took me a minute because I was trying to talk, and I couldn't because you couldn't fucking understand a goddamn word I was saying. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you leave me now, you're really shallow. So going about all this, get to the hospital.
They were funny.
And they like
At this
RN
point,
or
we
whatever.
had, like, calmed down a little
Yeah,
bit because he
so
was joking with everyone.
All this happened at like 5 p.m. right around that time.
On a Saturday.
We got to the U at like 8:45 or something like that. and I still needed like at least another hour before they could give me any pain meds. So at this point,
Well,
like,
I don't think you needed it. Just nobody had realized he hadn't had
yeah,
it yet.
and
He
so
finally got a nurse that was like, they haven't given it.
the
Hold on.
adrenaline wore off, like
What's that?
all this shit. So I'm in fucking pain. It's the best way to describe it. Like, I feel like I got shot in the face, which I did. So all this goes on. Like, they come in, start getting me cleaned up. They're like, all right, we're gonna need a ENT to come in and check out your face. We'll maybe talk to a plastic surgeon, see what happens there. I was like, cha-ching.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, that's cool. What can we do about this? Because this kind of hurts more than this right now. I'm like, I still can't really feel a lot of it, but
Can't close my
this
mouth.
is throbbing, and I'm seeing blood kind of pulse with every heartbeat. They're like, yeah. And then they're like, nobody cleaned this up? I'm like, no, the girl tried to puke. And the guy was like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? And he comes over and just fucking starts getting ham in there, and I'm like, ah, goddamn it.
So at this point, Debbie had to, because Debbie came with us. She was
Oh.
there. So Debbie and Jeff came with us. Jeff had to take her home, or I had to take them home. So I had to leave, drive them home, and then come all the way back up to stay with him overnight, because I wasn't going to leave him there.
Right.
I had left, and he was okay. They told us they were going to have a ear, nose, and throat doctor come in and look at him, because they just had the ER doctor there. They couldn't really do much. They could just tell him what was going on. I left and I came back and I go to walk in the room and there's 4 doctors working on him at the same time.
Oh,
Somebody
shit.
was cleaning and stitching his finger. Someone was stitching his mouth.
Skip all that. we'll kind of touch back on that. But they
was
give
scary.
me morphine first.
Right.
You know, I've heard
2 doses.
all
of
sorts of stories about morphine. Like, everybody's like, yeah, it's fucking fire.
It
Dude, that
worked
shit worked for
an
like
hour.
20 minutes, it felt like.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't enough to like get me high. It just, I stopped feeling the
He was
pain.
getting
So I
a
was like,
little
cool.
sleepy.
And then it wore off. And I was like, hey, can I get another? And the dude's like, oh, yeah. So he came in, gave me a couple more
So it was
units.
2 doses of 4 milligrams of morphine.
And then like 45 minutes later, I'm like, look, dude, I'm not trying to be that guy. Like, this is getting bad. And he's like, all right, well, let me make sure I can give you more because it's regulated.
Right.
So he comes back like 35 minutes later and he's like, so we're going to throw you on some Dilaudid. He's like, and also they told me as long as you're coherent enough and understand like you're in pain, we can give it to you. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So anybody out there? Dilaudid over morphine because that's a whole different level. That shit worked, and I think I had maybe 2 doses the whole rest of the like 14 hours I was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I was high for a minute, but it killed the pain, and that's all I wanted. I didn't want to be high, obviously,
You
but
just wanted to fucking not
the
suffer.
added bonus of it was
Wanted to
fucking
sleep
dope.
at that
So
point.
yeah, all that. Yeah, she leaves, take my family home. I'm just chilling there, nodding off because I'm fucking zombified on painkillers, and then
His eyes-
they
he
all
was
walk
rolling
in at
his
the same time, and I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. And they got one doctor checking my face out, another one looking at my hand. They had like a ER dentist come in, and he's like, yeah, blah, 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 this terminology I didn't know. And I was like, I just heard upper palate, and I was like, that's not good. Whatever that meant was not good. But, so they're like, yeah, well, let's get him stitched up. Like, we got to stop the bleeding. He's like, it's slowed down, but it's still there. We got to do this.
Right.
So they start going to town. Other dude comes in, shoves a fucking needle in my finger, like in the muscle to start numbing it. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm over here dying because I can start to feel everything. Everything's wearing off. I got dudes up here jacking my face up, and then dudes stabbing my finger trying to sew it.
He says that someone was like basically sitting on his chest.
Yeah,
and
we had one doctor, like, he straddled me like I do her on the weekends. He
got
got on me, and he's like over me. The other dude's standing over the edge of the bed. You got the one dude over here on a stool working on my hand on the little surgical table. Another doctor over there telling them everything they need to do and what kind of medication and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
That's when I walked in, like, what is happening?
So my finger was so swollen by this point that they were trying to stitch it, and they couldn't stitch the skin.
It was all muscle.
He had to stitch muscle to the skin to close it enough that we could get it to stop bleeding.
Jesus.
And then they ended up putting stitches in my mouth to cover all that stuff up.
17 in your bottom and like 12 in your top lip.
12 up top, 17 on the bottom,
And then his
and
gums, he had to have stitches too.
30 something on my gums. Ultimately, the damage done was 6 teeth, so 2 in the bottom, 4 up top, fractured upper palate, damage to my finger, and ultimately what happened is it impacted the teeth. So as it hit, it didn't
Concussion.
break them, it just exploded them in my mouth. So if anybody's ever seen Iron Man, you see the point where you look at Tony Stark's chest and it's his x-ray and there's shrapnel all over. That's still to this day what my mouth looks like, from bone fragments and teeth fragments.
Just it looks like right here.
And
it's
it's
like snow almost. It's just little specks.
There's random times where I'll dig a little piece of tooth or whatever out of my mouth, and it's just whatever. But so this happens. They tell me all this. The next day, start the healing process. Yeah, it's painful as fuck. It sucks. The worst part was I had a 2-inch hematoma on my mouth for about 3 weeks on the roof of my mouth.
If you don't know,
So I went to a strictly cold liquid food diet, essentially, which I still couldn't fucking eat anything because my mouth is just killing me, and the stitches, everything hurt.
It basically consists of egg salad and tuna salad sandwiches. That's all.
That and then ice cream or yogurt.
Right.
So obviously didn't fucking help this, but it was cool while it lasted. But so yeah, no. Finger is trashed, mouth is trashed. Fast forward X amount of time, everything's healed. I go back to work, start going to dental visits, trying to figure out what I need to do to fix my grill and, make myself pretty again like Tom Cruise. And they ultimately come at me with, you're going to need implants, and in order to get implants, you're going to need this amount of money, or we can do dentures. But your insurance is only going to pay for one or the other. If you pay for dentures, you don't ever get your insurance to cover them again for the rest of your life. So if anything else ever happens, I'm fucked and got to pay for it out of pocket.
Right.
You do implants, still kind of the same thing, but they pay $1,500 per tooth. And after you submit that, you don't get any more.
But that's $1,500 a year too. It was an annual payout. That's all they would pay.
So it's essentially one tooth a year.
So he has to
That's
pay
how
the
much
other
they'll
half.
pay.
They're about $3,000 a tooth.
Yeah.
Right.
So ultimately, what it came down to is about $36,000 to fix my mouth.
Jesus.
The way I want to fix it, which is permanent teeth that I won't have to, worry about. In the middle of all this, these 2 teeth on the bottom that weren't necessarily affected have died since, and I had to get 2 separate root canals because the pain was so bad that it was causing inflammation and swelling in my jaw and making it to where I couldn't breathe, eat, or sleep.
He was snoring a lot.
And that's when the whole OxyContin thing came into play, because my mouth was so bad. I literally had to sit in the shower and let the warm water hit my face. And as you know, with pain, the warm, it helps, but it only amplifies it after.
Right.
So
that and medicated freaking mouthwash.
Yeah.
You could get prescriptions for that.
So I had to do all that. I was essentially going home from work, leaving early, getting shit paychecks because I couldn't be at work. As soon as I got home, I was in the shower, pretty much till I went to bed. I'd get out, sit around for 20 minutes, my fucking face would start throbbing, go get back in the shower for an hour and a half till all the hot water was gone. Get back out, try to eat something, couldn't eat. Just, it was on and off for a few weeks. And then finally I fucking had enough, and I went to my mom and I was like, look, I don't want to take from you. So whatever, if you can give me anything, cool. If it's going to cause you to, go without or whatever, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. Because at this point, I was flying through bottles of acetaminophen and ibuprofen. I was taking easily 1,600 milligrams every couple hours.
The hospital only gave him enough of the regular pain pills for
to last the week, because that's what they needed, or whatever, 2 weeks. But so I went through all that. Decided while we were at her house that I was going to take half of the oxy. Took it and knocked my ass the fuck out. Cool, no pain, whatever. Woke up and I was good. It was numb enough that it wasn't killing me, but I could still feel it, so it was tolerable. That's all I fucking want. Cool, I can live with this. I can sleep. I can do what I need to do. Normal day. 11:30, something like that, rolls around. She's dead ass asleep, and I'm over there, and fucking my face starts pounding. So I go get in the shower, sucking on a rag, nothing's working. I'm like, fuck it.
And we had broken up these pills into quarters, so they were just little pieces.
I took the other quarter of it, not even the other half, and fell asleep for about 20 minutes, and I woke up because my stomach was convulsing. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was just like, oh, I'm hungry, I guess. I don't know. I don't take pills. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So
He's like,
I look up, my stomach's contracting, and I just see it. Crunch, release. Crunch, release. And I was like, So I go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, I'm fucking pale faced, lips blue. I'm cold as shit to the touch. I'm like, this isn't good. So I get in the shower, turn it on really hot, try to warm myself up. Because I knew what was happening, but I didn't realize what was happening. I'm like, fuck, I'm overdosing. So, sitting in the shower, do that whole fucking charade, get out. I go lay in bed and I start dozing off, but I notice I'm not breathing. I wake up because I stopped breathing.
Oh, Jesus.
So I'd wake up and I gasp and fucking panic. And then I talk to myself because I'm high as fuck and I'm panicking. I'm like, breathe, 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 breathe. And then I started hyperventilating because I was breathing too fast. So this went on for easily 3 or 4 hours. She was asleep. And I'm a dumbass because I didn't fucking wake her up. I was just like, fuck it.
I don't know what I could have done.
I got to the point in that night where I was over everything. And I was like, if I go, I go. I need sleep. Like, I'm at the point where it is what it is. Luckily, I woke up the next morning.
Told me about it. I was like,
yeah, no, my stomach was sore as shit. Like, I just got hit by fucking Kimbo or something. And it was a rough time, man. I wouldn't advise it for anybody.
So we tell everybody, we're like, if you're... Get a box mod at least if you're going to do it, because those batteries, like...
Anything with a wire connecting the battery, essentially, because what your regular mechanical mod does is, like I said, creates a short circuit. So you got metal touching metal, touching metal, touching metal. It's just a bad combination for electricity, really.
So besides the teeth situation, is there anything that's still affecting you to this day? Like, does your finger have...
You said it gets numb sometimes, or it hurts.
I'll get numb, or like I'll get random kind of sharp pain. But as far as like feeling, so I got feeling in it, except for
just the little scar area
right there, that tiny little bit.
Right.
Like, I've smashed this finger multiple times, and obviously I don't feel it as much as the other normal fingers. Right. But other than that, I mean, it hasn't affected mobility. It's
you
a
had
little
a hard time
fatter.
like bending it at first, but...
And it was kind of like weird hand function.
That's what I thought happened.
You fucked him up with some dollar store nunchucks, dude.
No, but I definitely will from now on.
That's what I thought happened. I was in the kitchen. I was like, they probably just hit something with the nunchucks or hit each other. It's fine.
Yeah. So with the teeth, is it... I mean, maybe this is a rude question to ask, but is it difficult to eat still? Or is it...
So it's...
Some things.
Different, it's different things. So, like, harder foods definitely take an impact.
He loves corn on the cob. He can't eat
corn on the cob. Honestly, if you want to watch some funny shit, I'll show you. Like, we can last drink some barbecue or something. But corn on the cob, like, I like corn. I specifically like corn on the cob. It's my favorite kind of corn to eat. And that is a fucking pain in the ass without front teeth. I'm not gonna lie. Because I got baby teeth in general. My fucking teeth are tiny as fuck. But
I always call them shark teeth.
Now it's harder because I gotta I look like a fucking dog chewing on a bone. I'm over here like, but I can still do it.
Yeah.
Other things is my gums get raw from biting. So a lot of that, like sandwiches and stuff like that, I can do it. It definitely hurts, but I'm grown accustomed to it.
Yeah, he's pretty much just said.
But like harder foods and stuff, so like chips or crunchy stuff, like certain times I'll bite it and not thinking about it, and it sucker punches my gum line and it hurts like a bitch.
When you chew a chip and it gets in between your teeth and you hit the gum, it's like that.
Pretty much what it feels like all the time. And certain things just like, it's weird how the body works. So if I go from eating like softer foods for any length of time and try to go eat something like a steak,
right,
or like a toasted sub or something like that, that's when the pain is there. The only long-term effect so far I've noticed is the root damage for the rest of the teeth. So these two went their fucking dead and gone root canal. Now I'm starting to get pain going further back, and I think it's just localized nerve damage, essentially.
Right.
But there's really nothing I can do about that, just because it's root damage. So the only thing to really get rid of it all would be to fucking yank and replace. And I'm fucking 27 years old. I ain't trying to get a whole mouth of dentures, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think the biggest drawback is, obviously, I mean, I'm self-conscious any way you look at it because I'm a bigger dude, but I've been able to kind of own it and fucking, get on with my life. I don't let it affect me. But speech was a really big thing for a while. I still kind of have a lisp. Yeah, that was a big thing. This all happened a month before we were supposed to get married, and I didn't want to. It fucking shied me away from the whole idea. And still to this day, the only reason I did it is because fucking we've already been together for 6 years before that, and I was like,
I don't care.
She doesn't care, and fucking my friends
smile.
don't care because they feel for me, but yeah, that was it. Just self-image, and now certain words and shit, like it's still there, and I notice it, but I try to just get past it. It's not
he
like
was so self-conscious about his S's.
yeah, like it's bad because I get the but it's it is what it is.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I've talked to a lot of work and I never noticed.
I've never noticed
so
it either,
but no, just the other thing is like it's like anybody with any kind of anything they think is wrong with them, whatever, maybe lazy eye or whatever. You get the whole, you're having a conversation, you kind of, you're like, fuck, what are you staring at? Like, tell me, dude.
Yes, I know.
That's only happened a couple times, and it's never like, people are never rude about it. They're just like,
or curious.
Me being me, and I'm like, it's crack stuff. But everybody's like, just kind of staring at it. I'm like, yeah, I have my face blowing up, and they're like, wait, what?
Right.
And then that's when you go on the whole story. It sucks ass because it's not something, I'm like proud of or trying to put out there. No. And when I do it, it's like, I mean,
it's more so we're like, please don't do that.
It fucking happened, but just don't buy that kind of mod. Like, if, do you, fuck it, whatever.
Well, and I know that when you were telling me a little bit of the story at work, and we didn't make this clear at the start. Me and James work together.
I guess.
Yeah, we're in the same department.
I'm just
now.
the wife of this one.
But I want to not get into super detail about this conversation, but I know that after this all happened, you did try to go and go after the battery company and the mod company, and you ended up basically, to summarize what you told me is they both were pointing the finger at each other, so there couldn't be a compromise on the situation.
So ultimately what happened was I posted about it originally on Facebook. And I was like, this is pretty fucking shitty, stay away from blah, 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 mods and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I had my cousin contact me, and she was like, hey, you should probably take that shit off Facebook and contact a lawyer. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So I probably should.
A lawyer.
And I don't...
Pro bono lawyer, too.
I don't remember their fucking name. But went and talked to him. And dude was like super about it. He was fucking ready. And
I gave him all these pictures. He's like, yeah, we'll do this. It was
an exaggerated process. It took way longer than it should have. And they were
lagging one time.
It's a good thing I don't remember it because I'd slander the shit out of them if I could. But
I was the one dealing with them. They wouldn't talk to us. It took 6 months before we heard anything from them.
And it was just
it could take a minute.
Stupid updates. It wasn't even anything really pertaining to
I
me
would call
moving
and try
forward.
to speak to the lawyer. They're like, well, he's not in the office.
And it was
hours.
just
He's never there.
Like, hey, is there any updates? Like, you guys working on it still? Like, what's going on? And finally, it got to the point of they contacted us. They're like, yeah, we had what the hell is it called?
A class action?
No. Like when they go and talk to people. What the fuck is it?
A meeting?
Kind of, but it's like a group of people, and you tell them what happened.
Like a council?
I don't know. I forget the word for it. It's some fancy term, but it's it's pretty much like that, like a sales pitch type thing, and it's almost like a mock jury, I guess. And they it sounds like you have a case, you should do it type shit.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So he does that, and he's like, yeah, we got really good feedback on it. We think we're building a thing. He's like, right now we're in contact with both the battery company and the mod company. We're kind of getting a little bit of pushback from either one, but I'll let you know.
They were originally trying to go after one of them, but they told us, they're like, if we can't get it just singly on your own, we'll see if there's a class action suit that you can join.
Go in general, because it's
they're this has been happening.
The dude came in and he's like, within this last 6 months, there's been at least 8 different cases of these fucking things blowing up on people.
So they've all joined a suit. So maybe we can get you in there.
Like a class action type. We'll get you $250K type shit. And I was like, woo, Ferrari.
We're like, do whatever. We don't care.
So, all this and just the law firm was fucking trash. And it may not have been the lawyer. He may be good. I don't know. Your firm wasn't very helpful. That's all I'm gonna say.
I
But
don't even remember what firm it
so
was. to not
yeah,
say
they do
the
all
name of
this
it.
shit. Like 6 months later, finally, I'm fucking like, well, I'm over it. And then I call them, and like a week later, I get a letter in the mail, and it says, "We regret to inform you, we can no longer move forward with your case. We can send you all the documentation we have in regards to it, but
Any
as
other
far
way,
as it goes, there's
we
nothing we
can't
can
help
do
you."
for you."
I called,
So,
and she
yeah.
was like, well, because it's a Chinese-based company,
They have different regulations.
this is what she
in the
came from.
US.
She's like, we can't win anything. We're not going to get any money out of it, so we're not going to help you. And I think it's specifically because it was a pro bono type thing, because they don't get any money unless you win.
They're not going to put the effort
So they're
in
not
that they
gonna-
need to get any kind of payout that they can't guarantee that they would make some money.
So I think
And their cut was something ridiculous. I
it
think
was like
after
40.
yeah, after
a
everything, it ended
40%
up being like a 42% cut, and I was like, that's fucking ridiculous.
But we signed
Because
anyway,
it's like,
we-
oh yeah,
we can
because
do it.
you know you're gonna have to sign for medical bills, lost wages, like all this shit. Because when all this happened, we get short-term disability at work.
Right.
But it didn't work out for me, and I had to use all my PTO and take a week of unpaid because they couldn't get a single doctor to submit everything because there was multiple doctors that saw me.
Multiple doctors at the first
So,
hospital, like 3 at the next.
Because of
hospital.
that, there was not one doctor that could be like, yeah, this is how we treated Mr. Johnson, blah, 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 blah.
Sign the paper.
So the short-term disability people were like,
Sorry.
sorry, bud, you suck at life.
We
Like,
ran out of time.
that's pretty much what it was, so.
It's just-
yeah, I mean, all in all, I didn't really gain anything from it. Still haven't. They gave me a time frame. It said like 2 years that you could still pursue legal action after that.
was last February.
It'd have to be like some type of like different lawsuit or something, like essentially a civil
different
suit
lawyer.
or some shit.
Right.
But no, that's pretty much what came of it is nothing. Just
I will
me
say,
owing a shit ton of medical bills.
I found a dentist that he was seeing to do the root canals and stuff. I found the godsend of a dentist. And I haven't paid him what I owe, so I feel bad about that part. But
I paid him half of what I owed him.
yeah, I was working at Shopco when
It's
they were
only
still
like
around.
$300 now. Yeah.
I was working at Shopco when they were still around, and I worked in the optical center. And the guy's a dentist, so he came in and he wanted the straps to hang his dental glasses off of.
Yeah.
So they have the ones that have like the
Magnification.
yeah, like they're like little binoculars on his glasses.
Yeah.
And he wanted a strap for him, so he came in and was talking with my other coworker, and he was helping him, and he was getting him checked out. And they were just talking, and my coworker asked him what he did, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a dentist," and da 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 da. And then I'm in the back on the computer, and I hear him say, "Yeah, man, I just helped this guy. I just fixed his whole face. He had his an e-cigarette blew up in his mouth."
Oh.
And I was like, "Don't leave!" I got up right over there. I'm like, "I'm sorry, I was eavesdropping, but you said you just fixed somebody's face?" And he's like, "Yeah, my husband just same thing like 2 weeks ago. Can we help you? Can you help him?" And he's like, "What's his name?" And I told him. He's like, "Oh, I thought it was the same guy." He's like, "Here, let me help you."
The fucking odds of that. Then.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Dude's like, boom. Fuck shit.
And he's like, "Here, let me help you." And he writes down his name, and he's like, "Call my secretary, call the specific lady, tell her that I sent you here, and they'll waive the fee to get in."
Oh, wow.
And they're like, make an appointment, come in, and I'll talk to you. And this guy was great. He was a super nice dentist. Turns out he's
He's the jazz dentist.
the dentist
Oh, shit.
contracted for the jazz team. So he
That's
had
pretty
all
cool
their
dude.
stuff everywhere. He would put their games
Jerseys
on the
and
TV.
shoes, and I'm like, that dude got some big ass feet.
He'd lay him down on these tables, and they'd have like a little TV right here, so he could watch TV while they're working on him. And there's TV over here with jazz games playing. But yeah, he was
cool.
he was a really nice guy. He did everything super quick, like real gentle guy, real nice guy.
He's the one that took X-rays, and he's like, bro, I hate to tell you,
He's
but
like, "Look at this."
he's like,
He
"You
puts
seen
it up on
Iron
the
Man?"
screen.
He's like, "You look like Iron Man, just in the mouth though."
Jesus.
Yeah,
So yeah, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's a life experience. So I haven't let it slow me down, and definitely fucking hasn't slowed my career down or anything.
Right.
I just fucking taught myself out and the skills I learned, so now I'm fucked. But whatever.
But yeah,
Yeah, no,
all that long story.
that's what happened there. I mean, like I said, we'll probably have to do a few parter here to get my whole backstory and our awesome backstory. But I guess the one we could touch on right now is my upbringing. And
Yes.
the awesomeness that goes along with that. So
He's like,
Before you jump into that, I need to switch something. Really
go
quick.
ahead.
What time are you guys have
It's on
available
you.
to?
I don't know. I mean, it's already 3:30. So.
Just so I can get an idea of what you're thinking. Because
you
I
want to call it 4 then, or what?
Sure.
okay, that will work great. And yeah, like this isn't just a one-time thing. You know,
Yeah, for
it
sure.
definitely doesn't. You know, the podcast isn't going anywhere unless I die or something.
I
I mean, careful what you wish for, right?
just don't put that on the internet.
Right. Don't do it, internet.
No.
We'll come after you.
Bet.
But so try and make this a little bit as brief as possible. Needless to say, I grew up in not the best of circumstances. My biological dumpster fires. So my biological mother has been, I mean, I'll flat out say it because I really don't give a shit anymore. She has been addicted to meth ever since I can remember.
Oh.
And not just a little bit. Like, this woman will do what she needs to do to get her fix, is the best way to describe it.
She got pregnant at 14 and had him at 15.
I was conceived at, I mean, I call it a Skittle party. I don't really know what it was called back then in 93 or whatever the fuck it was, too. But essentially it was just a get-together at some dude's house, and they put whatever drug they could find in tablet form in a bowl, and you take handfuls and see what happens.
Jesus.
Is pretty much what I got told. My father, not now, but used to kind of look like a skinny version of Axl Rose. So, I mean, I guess he had that going for him. He's been a pot and PCP head my whole life. Mostly pot, but every once in a while there was some, angel dust added on top or whatever. Definitely not the most stable environment. My father couldn't hold down a job.
He fucked out
His
a picture
idea
real quick, so
of
he's just gone.
working was working for $8 at a smoke shop for X amount of time.
Right.
And Arctic Circle, or I think the only real job he ever had was making cabinets at this cabinet shop that our other coworker Joe, his coworkers before he used to work at.
Oh, yeah.
So, with that, all that, whatever. My dad's a dick bag. Never really had a father growing up. I've had numerous father figures that I've looked up to. But I lived with my mom majority of my life till I was about 15, 16. That's kind of when I called it quits myself. So, yeah, not very typical upbringing. She was always, doing her shit and very paranoid.
She liked to take him as a baby and put him in a backpack and then just take off.
Yeah,
Nothing,
ride buses
no
in the middle of
clothes,
winter,
nothing, no
just
diapers,
fucking.
just take off.
I was dropping my head as a child, so that might be part of my problem in life now. We don't really know
That was
for
a
sure.
little later when one of those father figures was there for a while, but
Was that like Greyhound type shit? Like just get on a bus?
yeah,
No,
just like a city bus.
Yeah,
just
UTA,
like
shit like that. Just that's how she got around. But
she would drop him off at Debbie's house
yeah.
and
So
be gone for 3 weeks. Just
the
gone.
woman that
Bye-bye.
I actually consider my mom is my grandma, just because she was the one who put the time into nurture
She
and
cared.
love.
She had 5
and,
kids of her own. She was like, come
Yeah,
here, baby.
she was the mom figure. But I still had love for my mom for a while growing up, just because she was my mom. But kind of all came to a head, like I said, when I was 15 or 16. I fucking had enough of everything. And my little brother, we had when I was 7 or 8, I can't remember. But that's when he came into the picture, and pretty much from day one it was, I never really got a typical childhood. So I wasn't out playing with other kids or, doing kid shit really. I was fucking trapped in a house watching people stoned on fucking whatever, play video
And
games
raising
and
his
darts. That's what it was. I watched movies because I wasn't allowed to play the video games when they were playing, so sitting there bored as fuck. And just Christmases and shit like that, I never really got to experience good family time. Some of the, I guess, highlights are just going with other family members and living with them the short periods of time that I did. But, I mean, overall, it kind of turned me, I guess, into who I am, which is in a roundabout way an asshole, but I'm a good person.
Well, I would definitely. I mean, I don't look at you as an asshole. I definitely think that it's very respectable because it kind of shows your character. Because it seems like it would have been really easy just to fall in line of that same lifestyle.
Well, the whole thing is like, so I definitely had my dumbass experiences, like everybody does, but to me, it's all about being able to overcome it. So the first drug I ever did, surprisingly, was not marijuana. Wow, weird. It's not a gateway drug. No, I was what we call an e-tard for a very long time.
I don't know if
I did ecstasy pretty much daily for about 2 years.
Oh, Jesus.
And it wasn't just a little bit of ecstasy. I did a lot. A lot.
Trapped myself in a room for 8 hours.
Eventually tried to move into the whole dealing aspect of it and decided that it was way more fun to take what I wanted to take and not sell. I threw the towel into that one. Like she said, I got too zombified and locked myself in my room for about 24 hours because I couldn't find the doorknob.
Because he had no lights on and a strobe light on.
I had a strobe light going, listening to mad fucking techno like a robot, and I had to pee so bad. I was good because I had a pitcher of water. I thought of that, just didn't think of a bathroom. Long story short on that, I ended up peeing out a window. That was pretty fun. But, finally kind of hit my peak and crashed out after that, and when I woke up, the sun was out, so I could fucking see the doorknob. I went and took the longest, what felt like shower of my life, and the longest pee of my life. But yeah, no, I did that for a solid 1.5, 2 years. Daily. Weekends were way worse. I think the first time I did it, I took 2 hits. The next time was literally 3 days later, and I took triple that amount.
Jesus Christ.
And it definitely, it makes you feel a sort of way. The body high is fucking incredible. The head high is not as wacky as you think. You don't really hallucinate or anything like that, but your body high is on another level. So that was pretty dope. And I think that's why I liked it so much, is just, whole body image, and at that point you don't really give a fuck. So I could look however the fuck I wanted, didn't give a shit about it. But so I did that, and then, I quit doing that because I locked my dumb ass in a room forever. But after that is when, I tried smoking, and I wouldn't say super heavy into it, like I didn't need it, but I enjoyed smoking it. It wasn't anything bad. But that came to a head when that whole spice craze came out. And my dumbass decided I was going to hit salvia and spice in the same day. And that was a fucking, that was a trip.
Yeah, real bad trip.
You never done salvia before? I don't recommend it, but if you do, be prepared for gravity to take its toll on you. That's all I gotta say, because it fucking feels like it's pulling you one way or the other, and I'm not gonna lie, I tried to take a pee while I was on salvia, and that was the funniest experience of my fucking life. Because I'm fucking, like, I don't remember the movie. It might be Me, Myself, and Irene when he's walking all, like, stupid.
Oh, yeah.
But that's how I felt trying to walk, like, inside the house to go pee. Felt like I was doing this the whole time, standing there giggling, trying to fucking, drain the lizard.
Sidetrack, I did some, I've told it before on the podcast.
Fine.
I did acid, and I was with a buddy of mine who people know, I'm sure. I don't want to say his name anymore.
They'll figure it out.
And we were up in his attic or whatever, and it was the first time that I've ever done it, and like it's cool, it's fun, you can look at it as a growing opportunity or just a silly opportunity.
Yeah.
Anyways, I felt like I needed to pee, but I was so, like, if you've ever done this, which I'm not gonna say do, probably don't. You get really uncomfortable, like, and you get like anxious of like silences and different things like that. And I was nervous of asking to go use the bathroom. Oh, no. So I finally did, because I actually thought that I pissed in his bed.
You're like,
Because like I was sitting on the floor and I was just like uncomfortable as shit. And he was laying in his bed. And he was like, yo, if you just want to lay in the bed, that's cool. I'll lay on the floor. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm miserable down here. And so I thought I pissed in his bed.
Oops.
because like it felt like my bladder was blowing up. So
That's fair.
finally, I'm like, dude, I need to go to the bathroom, and he's all like, oh, okay. And I'm like, can you like show me where the bathroom is? Because like
Take
I'm
me
kind of
there.
like I don't know. And he's like, oh yeah, for sure. And he goes down, and then he comes back up, and he's like, dude, it's like a whole new world down there. And I'm like, oh great. So like I like peer down, and like just like this like attic like stairway down is like just going forever. I'm like,
Oh,
that's
God.
a lot of stairs, my guy. So anyways, I make it down to the bathroom, and it wasn't like that was like the craziest part about it is like it felt like a new world.
That took 7 years to get that.
Dude, like, because everything, like, I grown accustomed to that bedroom, and now I'm down there, I'm like,
Everything
What
is
the
new.
what is all this? So I go in the bathroom, right, and I take my pants down, and I am so out of it that I can't control my wiener, and I try to pee, and it just goes all over the place. I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I don't know what to
I don't
do.
know.
So I put my pants
down.
back up and go back upstairs, and like 5 minutes later, I'm like, dude, I gotta go to the bathroom again. He's like, why? And I'm like, I just gotta go.
Finish.
So I get down there and I'm like game planning. I'm like,
Okay.
what do I do? Like,
Okay.
do I just pee everywhere? And then I sat down. Like I was like,
Sit
oh,
down.
okay. And then I sat there and stared at like the fucking. He had like a towel for like the shower. And I sat there and stared at the towel for a while. A while.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to make it through, bud.
Yeah. Overall, it was a fun experience. Don't recommend it. But
Yeah, you know.
You're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, did the whole like salvia spice thing. The drawback with that is I got really bad anxiety from that because my biggest fear, like, scared of heights, and it's not the height itself. I overreact and think about falling
Mm,
and how bad that would fucking suck. I don't think about dying. I just like that's gonna fucking hurt,
right.
and I start thinking about it. I'm like, shit, I'm really high up. But so yeah, there's that.
Flying is a thing.
But my biggest fear is snapping and going crazy. Like not having self-control over my mind. That's my like, man, I don't want to go there.
Right.
It's a dark room. But so I guess I'll just go deep into the story here. So I was smoking a lot of spice, and by a lot I mean we were buying $120 worth every 2 or 3 days, and they came in like
Those little-
120 gram jars or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was bad. We weren't smoking it normal. We were making steamrollers, like roasting full bowls each, and yeah, it was
Because his brother was like
not a
into
good
it.
place in
He
my
was-
life, and not where anybody should be. But so yeah, we smoked a whole lot, and this was a newer kind that came out. I think it was called like Earthquake or something. But so we bought it. We loaded up a bowl, smoked a bowl. Like not even 10 minutes later, went back in, roasted another one.
Weren't you
Maybe
watching,
like
District
20
9 or
minutes.
something?
No, 20 minutes later, we went and smoked again. So,
Jesus.
right then should have fucking been a sign. But I got to that point where you know you're good. I was like, yeah, I'm warm and fuzzy, I'm salty, I'm good.
Right.
And then I was like, well, maybe I could do one more. And you
Never do one
never go one more. Don't do it.
With anything.
So I did one more, and it was almost like an instant, like, what the fuck did I do moment. And I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm cool. Everything's good. Well, we decided we're going to watch Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, see, my whole thing is like, I like horror movies. It's like my genre.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've watched this a million fucking times. It's a good movie. I like it. But the problem is my uncle, the one I don't consider my brother, has been in and out of prison his whole life. And he's a fucking dickhead. I hate him.
Much love.
He is stupid, and he kept calling the house. And
To
I
fuck
don't
with you, or
I don't
Probably.
remember. I
Knowing
think that
him,
was what it
probably,
was, but I finally just got to the point where like I'm not gonna fucking talk to this guy. Like I'm over it. But we had an old school fucking like early 2000s computer with the fucking screensaver that does the pipe bending.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the worst fucking thing that could happen to me that night. Hellraiser wasn't working because we were trying to stream it from the computer to the TV. This is when the first shit came out, and we were super fucking stoned trying to be high tech because why not? And it just kept buffering, wasn't working, and I was like, this shit's fucking with me too, and that's fucking with me, and I just need to be alone for a minute. So we decided, all right, fuck this, it's not working. Let's clean the house for Mom, do something nice. I was like, cool. I'll take the fridge and kitchen. I gotta organize the fridge. There's a bunch of fucking leftovers we need to throw away and whatever. So I get up, and for some reason in my mind, I just start fucking acting like the shit on the fucking screen. Like, I had a pathway, and I had to take that pathway.
Oh, no.
It was bad, bro. So I'm walking into the kitchen. The house is laid out pretty much a square. Front door was here. Back door was in the kitchen. So you walk in. The living room is here. We were watching the TV right here. Computer was over here. There's a hallway, our bedroom where we would smoke. And then guest bedroom, parents' room, bathroom, kitchen. That's it.
Okay.
Small ass little house. So I walk in. Tile like this in the kitchen. It's all white. And it's fucking dark as shit. So, kick the light on. I'm walking, feel like I'm fucking ingrained in this path. Like I can't stray from it for some reason. So I go over to the fridge. I open the fridge and I start looking at it. And in my mind, I just see a grid system.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, so I have to do everything this way. So I start taking everything out one by one and stacking it like Tetris. But I wasn't cleaning because I was putting the same shit back in the fridge after. I don't know what the fuck happened, but something went cuckoo. So I was doing this, and I realized what was going on, and I was like, hey, I can't do this. Like, it's fucking with me. He's like, what? And I'm like, well, you do this, I'll fucking go vacuum or something. Like, I can't do this. And my brother's kind of a dickhead, and, whatever. So he's like, fuck it, fine, whatever, I'll do it. And he's always kind of been an idol to me, but at the same time, I kind of don't like some of the shit he is as a person.
Right.
So I fucking go, and I go in the bathroom because I got to take a leak. And I'm like, all right, cool. Fucking do my business, wash my hands, whatever. Dry them, and I look up. My fucking eyes are gone. I'm bloodshot as a motherfucker. I was like, whoo, Mom's going to know I'm baked. I was like, all right, well, I can't let Mom know I'm stoned. I was like, because fucking I can't play it off either. So I'm fucking full-blown conversation with myself in the mirror. Just fucking talking and giggling and laughing. I'm like, all right, can't let her see me like this. So I grab the fucking Visine, undo the cap, drop a couple drops, look in the mirror. All right, we're golden. So I go, put the cap back on, and I'm turning it, and it doesn't get snug. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, and at that point, my mind shut down like a computer.
Oh, what?
Everything went black. Like, I don't really remember what happened, like, in the bathroom after that. I rebooted, and it took, like, 10 minutes. I came back. I realized where I was, but I didn't know, like, who I was. I didn't have any conscious thoughts about, like, what I was doing, what I needed to do, or, like I said, who I was. So I fucking walk out, and there's a wall right here. And like I said, I was seeing everything as a grid.
Right.
So I walk out, and the hallway was dark, so it just looked like a black wall, so I couldn't go that way. So I went this way, looked over, and the kitchen was an L, and my brother's at the fridge doing his shit, but something just didn't seem right. And I was like, I'm not going to go over there. Something just, I don't know. I got a weird feeling. So I turned left because I could see the living room, and the light was on. So I go back in there, and I just sit on the couch, and I look over, and the computer's doing its thing again. I'm like, nope. And I look up, and Hellraiser's frozen on the screen, but he's looking at me, and I'm like, nope.
Oh my
So I'm just staring at the floor, and I'm like, fuck. So I look up, and my brother's over there, and he's like, he's pissed about something. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but he's like talking to himself and shit. And I was like, what the fuck? At this point, I don't remember what the fuck happened. I remember standing up, and then when I came to, I was on my knees in the doorway, kind of crouched. One, like when you take a knee to propose.
Yeah.
Essentially that pose. With my brother holding my wrist, screaming at me to fucking stop. Don't know what the fuck happened. From what he tells me is I attacked him.
Oh, what?
I don't know how or why or what the fuck I did. All I remember is I stood up, went black, and then I'm looking at him talking, and I see my face morph into him. And then I was like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, just he became me, and I didn't like it. And then I blacked out again, and yeah, when I came to, he's fucking holding me down, like, fucking stop. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
What are you doing?
And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you fucking attacked me. You need to chill. And I was like, what?
Sorry.
What? What do you mean? Like, what? And he's like, go fucking sit down. I went and sat down, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I missed
So-
like the last half an hour. I don't know.
This was like right before I went to Job Corps, a couple of months before, like fucking. So that happened. After that, I was like, I can't smoke anymore. So a couple weeks go by. We're over at my cousin's house, and I decide to smoke again. But this time it's the real thing, not spice.
Yeah.
And they throw some keef on the fucking bowl. Never done keef before, so that was a new experience. But the fucked up thing is I was playing Gears of War.
Oh,
So
it's an aggressive one.
yeah, no, well, what happened was like I said, and everything went black. Well, this time I was playing Gears of War, and we were playing a co-op mission, and as you play a video game, you got joysticks.
Right.
Well, I was playing 360, so everything was kind of
Yeah.
off kilter. So in my peripheral, I see my thumbs doing this. And I get distracted from the game, look down, and I'm not playing the game anymore. I'm watching my hands do this. And all of a sudden, I get the same feeling getting done.
Really?
And this time, crazy fucking, I don't know what happened. But it pretty much came down to me ending the world. There was a timer, and I was fucking with a Rubik's Cube. Timer went done, something went click, and everything went black.
In your head?
Yep.
So when it clicks, are you now just, you see black, but you see yourself in your head?
No. Just black. Nothing.
Damn, that's fucking crazy.
So, yeah, so the first one was spice. Second time was ganja. After that, like, I stopped playing the game, went outside to have a cigarette. We didn't have any cigarettes, so I went back in and laid on the couch, and I tried to fall asleep. Because I kind of came back into reality, but I was still in that same kind of weird headspace. So I was trying to sleep it off, like, I'll be cool, whatever. After that, I was like, all right, I can't, like, something happened that night. I don't know what it was, but I'm not the same. Like, I can't do it anymore. So I quit smoking, went to Job Corps, did my shit, fucking kicked ass, got out of there. I tried smoking when I got out of Job Corps one time, and I got super bad anxiety that the same thing was going to happen, that I didn't want to be there.
Right.
So after that, like, easily 10 years, I went without touching it. Like, I wanted to fucking smoke. I wanted to be able to enjoy it, just that fear of me losing my mind, like, this would be the time, I didn't want it to happen. Wow. So after that, like, I've always wanted to try shrooms, never did it. Kind of wanted to try acid, never did it. And it's the fear that if I take a stronger hallucinogenic, something's going to happen that I'm not going to come back from. And that's, like I said, my biggest fear. I don't want it. I don't want to go crazy.
Each time we have 7 minutes. We can get into this next time, but I've told my shroom experience on here a couple times. And it's kind of weird that you explain it the way you do, because for me, and I still learn new things from that experience even to this day. Like, I'll look back on it and be like, oh, that was
different,
interesting, because I didn't have like a shut off moment necessarily, but there was a point in time when I did it. I was at a friend's property that he owns away from society, and he owns a couple like little cabin type things, and we were in there or whatever, and we took them, and this was the second time that I took them. The first time was an 1/8. Second time was 3/8, so a lot.
Yeah,
good.
A lot.
Because, like, of course, like, everyone who listens to Joe Rogan, when they started talking about their mushrooms, I was like, I gotta try them.
Yeah,
it sounds
I
great.
gotta
And he always says, like, don't take this much, take this much. I'm like, I'm gonna take this much.
Okay.
Awful idea. Don't recommend it unless you're ready and be mentally prepared.
Yeah.
But after doing all the research, I guess what I experienced was what they call ego death.
Oh.
And for a short period of time, didn't know who I was, didn't know where I was at, and I thought pretty much that I was born in that room.
Oh.
And
Makes
coming
a lot of
back
sense.
to reality and learning what's going on and what's important in that process did change me a lot.
Yeah.
And there is kind of some similarities to what you said on your, was it spice and salvia?
Yeah.
I've never done spice or salvia, but I've heard that, you know, I have a friend who did it and they were driving or whatever, and he just fucking like zombied in the back of the car and just drooling and the whole
Yeah,
line.
there's like definitely the horror stories of it, and you can fucking find multiple accounts online of people doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was like, it never affected anybody else I know in a weird kind of way.
Right.
I mean, obviously everybody's genetic makeup is different, so
Right.
there's that. But I will say now, I have smoked since this. I'm not nearly as bad with anxiety.
Good.
So that's a bonus. I still get in my head, but
Yeah.
it's nothing remotely bad. When I'm drinking and smoke, I don't feel a goddamn thing. I just get fucking happy and it mellows me out and I get back to a sober level and
Yeah.
I'm good to fucking pound some more beers and take a few shots. But
And it's weird too because, you know, I know that sometimes like people who have weird adverse effects with like smoking weed or, you know, spice or salvia also have bad effects on drinking, but it sounds like when you drink, you're just fucking
He's just
jolly
happy.
old time, you know?
dude, I'm a fucking
The
blast
only
drunk.
bad effect is his filter
Oh yeah,
goes
no,
away.
I
So he's
say
rude.
whatever the fuck I want to say.
You'll be rude. He's called me a bitch before.
That's
and
when I
totally
said
meant
I'm
it.
the asshole because when I drink, just whatever I feel at that moment, I'll say it.
Yeah.
And he's
And-
either like real rude or he'll be like, "I'm sorry. Thank you for being my. Thank you for loving me
I'm the
so
mayor guy.
much."
Hey, yo, mayor. Yeah, no, it's like I said. I mean, it's everything seems okay now.
Yeah.
I haven't had another, break, I guess. But I'm still fucking terrified to death to try any hallucinogenics, and I fucking want to. So
Yeah.
I want to try acid so bad, just once.
I don't necessarily want to try acid anymore, but shrooms they were a really big thing on the list for a long time.
You know what's weird about acid is like I was on the same page. Like I always told myself that I would never do anything man-made, even though before I even had that opinion, I had done ecstasy once. But you know that I digress. Acid they're very similar in some ways, but the thing that I loved but also hated about acid is I fucking felt like a year. Like it just
super dragged out.
Oh my god. And like it got to a point where like
I just don't want to do this no more.
yeah, I can't remember. I took it like at 1 a.m. Fun note, it was after a podcast. I took it like 1 a.m. or something like that, and then like I was not like fully sober until like 6 p.m. the next day.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a trip.
Like I was at a buddy's house and like I could see that it was getting light outside, and I was starting to like basically I knew when it hit because I was looking at a TV screen and then just all the colors just separated out. I'm like, oh okay, well this is what it is.
Okay.
And I could see him like starting to shrink back into reality. Like I didn't have that spectrum color shock anymore. Okay, well I could probably go home and do what I got to do for the rest of the day. But I was exhausted. I was so tired. I had a headache. And I got home and I'm like, I didn't want to be around family because I was like, I don't want to be like fucked up. That's rude. Like I don't want them to know. And I went down to my room and I laid down on my bed and I looked up at my ceiling and I'm like, I don't remember my ceiling moving like it is right now. I'm like, is this still going? And I was like getting frustrated. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I'm over it.
Just wrap this shit up. Like,
It was cool while it lasted, but
it's definitely not what media makes it out to be. Like, I wasn't seeing.
oh yeah, no, just
Tracers.
a lot of my friends have definitely tried
Yeah.
almost anything you can fucking try, but no, none of them said it was like, it's not like you see in the movies. Like everybody has a different experience, definitely. But
My dad was talking to little knickknacks, little birds and shit. We're
Yeah.
talking to him.
everybody
trip
said
lizard.
that hallucinogenics make everything way more vibrant,
Yes.
and that's kind of what. So my whole thing is I kind of want to like go in the woods, and I love nature. Like I just want to experience all of nature because it's fucking awesome. Like I hate being in the city all the time. Like, it's cool. I like it. I like living in the city, but the times when I can get away and just fucking breathe and not have to worry about wearing a fucking mask in a store or whatever, you know what I mean? It's dope. But
I definitely, the first time that I did it, there was a lot of panic because of a certain situation that was going on. Like, I went on a hike with a couple buddies, and we lost track of one of our buddies, and panic, like, ensued or whatever.
It's
but
fair.
there was a moment in time where, like, I had taken them, and we did, like, we drank orange juice with them, and it's supposed to amplify or whatever.
Definitely.
And I remember we were walking up this trail, and I just, like, I started, like, getting in my own thoughts really heavy. And I, like, tell my friends, I'm like, hey, I'm just going to sit down right here for a little bit. They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, no, I'm just going to sit down here and chill and look around. And I looked up at the moon, and, like, the best way I can describe it is, like, have you ever, like, pushed your eyes, like, in a weird way, and, like, you can kind of, like, see lights kind of, like, squinting and moving? It was like that, but it looked like a rainbow coming off the moon. And it wasn't like, I wasn't like, whoa, no, like, tripping out. I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And then, like, the stars and the light looked like they were kind of, like, cobwebbed almost. Yeah. But I sat there, and the reality is, like, it helped me figure out a lot of stuff in my head that I was questioning. Yeah. Not just, like, religion or anything like that, but, like, personal experiences that I was dealing with. Right. It made...
clarification.
It gave me clarification. It gave me a path in my head, like, okay, well, why am I worrying about this? Why is this hurting me so much? Why is this... I sat there for what felt like 3 hours, ended up being like 25 minutes, and worked out all this stuff in my head, and I felt great.
Yeah.
The second time when I took more, though, I think where my problem was I was so amped up from, like, other people talking about it and doing things that I was like, I didn't respect the drug. Or the mushroom. I don't want to call it a drug. It's like, I didn't respect it enough, and I didn't respect what it could do to your body. And I tried to fight it instead of just allowing it to do its thing.
Yeah, definitely.
My dad always said, he's like, don't fight it. Even if you don't want to do it, just let it go. Yeah. Because if you fight it, you're going to have the worst time.
I think, too, what happened was I did it. There was several people there, and one of my closest buddies at the time, he was very confident about doing it. And I remember we took him and we were sitting around a campfire, and you get nauseous when you eat them. Yeah. Because your body's like, foreign. But
yeah, get the fuck out. Yeah.
We went behind this cabin or whatever, and, like, my one buddy threw up, and then another buddy ran back there and started throwing up. And I felt it come up, and I swallowed it back down, which is gross. And my buddy looked at me in the eyes, and he's all like panicked, and his eyes are ginormous. He's like, I think we took too much. And then it just spiraled. I was like...
Why'd you say it, bud?
I was looking at you to tell me that we were okay. Fuck, bro.
Now I'm panicking.
You're like, well, now here we are.
Yeah, we can go into that next time. And
for sure.
I also want to know more... Well, about you, because we haven't dipped into that.
It's not nearly as fun, but...
And then obviously where you guys met and your relationship. Nice. Classic nut button. I always wait. Someone will be like...
I wanted to punch it earlier, but I was like, wait.
And everyone listening, if you guys want more, let us know.
Yeah. I'll show my titties or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We got Whatever. Patreon, OnlyFans. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I do have an OnlyFans. I'm not going to lie.
Subscribe.
Do you guys have... I don't know if you're really, like, do much on social media, but do you have anything that people can follow you if they want to?
Facebook. He has an OnlyFans, but
I got Instagram.
I have an Instagram too.
You guys can look forward to. We're going to try to get some of my other buddies on here, but we do a little bit outdoors stuff, pretty much hunting and shit like that. It's called Greenhorns Outdoors. So I'm going to see about getting those guys on here, and we can talk about some hunts and outdoor experiences. See if we can get some more people into the awesomeness of outdoors and getting your own food.
Yeah.
So.
And everyone listening, whether it's here live or YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, shouting you out again. Thank you. Finally. It took forever. If you're listening it there, links for everything will be in the description. So their social medias, our social medias for all of our other shows and stuff will be there. And if you want to reach out, Discord. There's a Discord that is going to be extremely active, or at least I will be on there for all of our different shows and guests and all that. So
I'll get into this eventually when I get done moving. Yeah, we'll go from there. But
yeah,
I definitely look forward to coming back and hanging out, man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for sharing. And
Thanks, man, for having
you.
us.
everyone listening, take care.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a good day.
Bye. Even though you just joined, bye.